All right, some of you guys probably know who my guest is going to be for this weekend. If you don't, you haven't been following the channel. So to new subscribers, yeah, you probably have no idea. But I think he's just about to show up. Come in. Hey, you made it.
I made it.
How was the drive?
That's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a long drive from home, but...
Yeah, well, I do that drive all the time to visit you.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's only fair that I come down once in a while,
Once in a while, at least. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you'd already got the top insulated, but just not the sides. Eh?
Yeah, so we're just kind of stuck at the electrical, and we can insulate, but...
Yeah.
Because we figured the timbers are a little wet on the main level.
Okay.
So, because we got the tar paper in there now, if we insulate, we feel like we're going to trap it inside, and then we might have some moisture issues. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cute cabin. I like the porch and the live edge on the siding. I like how you cut these beams and left the live edge on these balsams too.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good adventure.
I think so. We're going to eat a lot of wild food.
I hope so.
Tell people what you're up to.
Only eating wild food. That's it. That's my whole year. The big wild year. 365 days of only eating wild food. So
yeah,
this is day 60 or 61.
How do you feel?
Good. Good. My
blood
work came back
leaner?
good. A little bit leaner. Yeah, I'm down like 2 or 3 notches on my belt. My energy's pretty good. I've been eating lots of stuff I like, but there hasn't been a huge variety, but we post regularly, so if people want to see, they can go to my Facebook page or our Big Wild Year Facebook page or my channel.
You already plugging yourself?
Yeah, already. I just got here. And
yeah, I was gonna do that.
Links in the description below. You can sub if you want. Don't sub to Chris, he doesn't care.
Oh, I changed that.
Oh, did you?
I didn't change. I still don't care, but I changed. I added a tagline that I actually care about.
You care about subscribers, you just don't care if people sub or not.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a kind of a nuance there.
Okay.
People thought I didn't care about them.
Oh yeah.
So
you had to fix it up.
I had to change it up, evolve with the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
cool.
yeah, if you guys go find Jeremy, you know where he's at, and you got a lot of stuff on YouTube, following along your meals, and on Facebook too.
Yeah.
Like daily.
Yeah, daily Facebook. So the page is just Big Wild Year, and on my YouTube channel, I'm almost at a milestone. I'm going to be putting out my 100th video soon. I'm going to own up to something on your enormous channel.
What's that?
I cheated on the Big Wild Year the other day. So here's the context.
Is that the maple one?
No.
Or no, that was
that was like a little cheat.
Okay.
So this one, so the backstory is, over a year ago, I was at a pig butchering event. I did film it, and I took home some meat, and I brought a ham to my college where I work, and one of the chefs made it into a prosciutto. So the prosciutto takes a long time to make. It takes 12 months. And he called me in my office the other day, emailed me, and he said, I'm cutting up some of that prosciutto. It's been 14 months. And they're going to use it in an event, and they're featuring it. So it's like, well, it's not wild. It's not part of the Big Wild Year. But I'm not going to get a chance to otherwise taste this unless I was to carve off a piece and put it in my freezer for the next 8 months. So I went down, I had 1 slice, and it was really, really good.
That's a big reveal.
That's my big cheat.
Jeez.
I'll own up to it on my own channel as well, but
yeah,
that's everything else has been 100% wild food.
Yeah, and that's a lot of we figured it's like 1 million calories or something, right?
Yeah, you need 1 million calories or more in a year, depending on how active you are, like for my size and weight. Although my weight's a little bit lower now, so I might have to recalculate that.
Yeah.
And my, interestingly, I will officially get my resting metabolic rate done at a kinesiology lab, but according to my Fitbit, my resting heart rate has dropped from 64 beats per minute to 52 beats per minute in the last 2 months.
So you're slowly dying.
Well, or my metabolism has slowed down to make up for lower calories.
Right.
Yeah.
You're becoming more fit, or slowly dying.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully healthier.
Yeah, hopefully.
My doctor's tracking me, so if I become unhealthy, I'll stop.
Yeah, of course.
This sounds so good. This is distracting me.
That'll be revealed in a few minutes.
And it smells so good too.
Yeah, we got something on the go.
That's my other big news. I can smell again, I can breathe again, I can sleep again, because my nasal inflammation on the wild food diet is vastly reduced. So lots of good news.
Yeah. Well, let's get going. We got lots of work to do.
Yeah, we do.
We're gonna throw some cots up top in the bunk. These are the Teton. Got these a while ago for hot tenting. They come in a neat little pack. These fold all out. I gotta decide if I'm gonna sleep down here or upstairs. You know, it's obviously kind of weird when you sleep with two dudes up in the small space. But I think I would prefer to sleep down on the bottom, only because I like to sleep colder. I don't want to bake up on top, and I think that's what's gonna end up happening. It's gonna get too hot up there for me. So I think Jeremy's used to having wood stove, so he probably will go up on the top bunk, and I'll just camp out down here. And once I get cold, then I could just put more wood in the fire. So this episode is going to be quite a bit about Jeremy, obviously, and what he's doing to keep himself alive, eating just wild food. And you might think pretty easy. Maybe you think it's hard, or maybe you think it's really hard. So we're going to talk to Jeremy about how he feels about how he's managing and the techniques he's using to keep food on the table and to keep his obvious weight up. If you follow the Wilderness Living Challenge, you know that it's really important to keep your weight up. We'll find out how much weight he's lost. He's lost some weight, quite a bit of weight actually, and whether or not he's been able to stabilize it. And I'm going to show you right now the spread that we have for this weekend, and this is kind of a sample of what the things that he's eating. So I'm going to swing you around here. We've got the buffet table all set up, and we'll show you all the different things he's got lined up for this weekend. So last night before we came, just to make things easier, we actually prepared a goose. So this has been already cooked in the oven. There's no restrictions on using ovens and things like that. So that's a goose Mark and I shot not too long ago. So it's been set for 200 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Got some pin hairs left on it, so we're hoping to get a blowtorch on that, clean the rest of it up. Got some maple sugar. This is what happens after you boil down maple sap into maple syrup, and then it goes to maple sugar once you get rid of almost 100% of the moisture. It ends up as a sugar form. That's very similar to brown sugar, and you can actually get it better so that all those chunks aren't in there, but those are fine to eat as candy, and Jeremy's been eating this regularly as candy. What's this? Daylily tubers. I have no idea what that's all about. I have to check that. This? No idea what that is. Jeremy's gonna have to let us know. Bear fat. You guys know this. That's from the beard oil video. That's the bear fat. Black walnuts. These are right from the tree. I harvested these a few years ago, put them in the freezer, and I've kept them. And then we ran another experiment to figure out how long it would take to process down 1,500 calories or 1,000 calories of black walnuts. That's about 1,000 calories of black walnuts. It took us a couple hours to break this up with using rocks. As always, wood over spice. If you want to get that, it's on Zach Fowler's website. Link's always in the description if you want to find it. Maple syrup. That's the actual syrup. That's harvested from this property. Variety of, what is this, Jeremy?
Yarrow.
Yarrow?
Yeah.
Tea?
For tea and for spicing meat.
Yeah?
Yep.
So we're going to try this?
Yep.
On the goose?
Sure.
Okay.
Cool. I think it'd be good.
All right. And this next one here?
It's a tea mix, so it's got yarrow, goldenrod, Labrador tea, rose hips, a couple of other things in there.
Cool. And then we have 2 squirrels that I harvested in the fall, a hare, also from the fall, 2018, so that's just before the new year. And then we have some caul fat.
This is a spice mix that I made by just in my NutriBullet. So there's sedge seed, toasted sedge seeds. There's yarrow. Anyway, I just ground it down. I put this on a roast the other day and it was really good. And we're gonna add it to our goose. Kind of crisped up okay, eh?
Yeah, looks really good actually. We should put some bear fat on there while we have a chance.
Yeah, just on top.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I did my roast the other day.
It's gonna be the secret ingredient?
One of them.
Yeah. A dollop of bear fat?
Yeah. Like the goose is pretty fatty as it is, but
look at the drippings down there.
Yeah. Should have brought a little turkey baster or something.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
We need a bushcraft turkey baster. Your bear fat's really sticky.
That looks pretty good. We'll just throw the tin foil on top there, and we'll let that melt and baste and all that good stuff. We'll figure out how to scoop some of that down there and put it up top, I think.
Yeah, we have a spoon.
It's gonna run out now and set some traps for cottontail apples. It's really hard for them to get any kind of sweets or sugars in the winter. They're gonna go all these apples. I'm predicting we have 4 traps. I'm predicting 2 cottontails. I think it's pretty aggressive, but they've never been hunted here, and I've only trapped one once here. So I think we're gonna do well. So apples, I've got some bananas. I don't know why I was thinking about the bananas, but they're too far gone for banana bread, so I thought I'd try them out here. And I also have a chunk of meat. The chunk of meat is a bit of a hunch here. Snowshoe hare have been known to eat meat. They scavenge meat. And I think they've even got a deer on camera eating human remains. It's a long story. There was an article that came out not too long ago. They do forensic research. So every once in a while a human carcass gets donated for research purposes. They put it out in the woods and they watch it decompose. So they put trail camera on the carcass. So a deer was actually on camera eating the rib bones and carrying them off, chewing on them. So yeah, deer eat meat. A lot of people know that. Deer eat meat. Snowshoe hare. Now they have footage of snowshoe hare eating meat. They'll actually eat their own selves. They're cannibals. They'll eat snowshoe hares. It's the weirdest thing. But lots of people think they're innocent and cute and all this stuff. But if a hare or any herbivore for that matter could wield a weapon and hunt, or they had the tools, the teeth, the speed, the strength, they would 100% go after meat. They just would. So we're not alone. So just looking around here, see if we can find a spot to put a set, but I'm not seeing very many tracks. There's no point in putting a trap where there aren't any tracks. Some random coyote tracks through here, so I'm just gonna check down here by the pond. I have a trap that I left back here, so I have to dig it out anyway. So this is the pond here. It's frozen over obviously right now, but there's a beaver that lives in here. I've been trying to get at for a while now, but we'll be getting a beaver today. I think Jeremy would probably like to have one.
Yeah.
It'd be good amount of calories to get.
I was definitely banking on a couple of them for this year, so.
You ever saw that video where I tracked the cottontail? It's in the trap here, so I needed to pull it out anyway. We'll bring it back to the cabin and get all the snow out of it so it operates again. And I want to check that there was lots of tracks here before, but maybe I just trapped the last cottontail that was in this neighborhood. We'll pull it out and then keep looking around. There's lots of different corners. Yeah, gotta find the sign first. There's no point in setting. There's nothing here. It's weird. If this pond's frozen. Give it a test. Yeah, right. Should be frozen. Should be. I'm going super carefully. So it's not good ice, it's all that white ice. This looks thick enough. Should maybe take a walk up to the beaver dam too, see what's going on, but not much happens in the beaver dam in the winter. Might be neat to see anyway. You guys want to go see the beaver dam? That's a big trap, eh?
Yeah. It's pretty serious size.
Yeah. I grabbed it for coyote, but I know it's not going to catch a coyote because you can catch a cat in there or something.
Yeah.
They're willing to go in it.
Good for raccoon too. Like,
yeah, raccoon, it's a big one.
Yeah, I mean they'll go into much smaller traps, but
You want a hefty raccoon.
yeah.
Or a small cub. Bear.
Yeah. Yeah, or a kid.
Yeah, I tried to convince Holden to go in there.
Yeah.
I threw candy at the back.
Yeah. Any luck?
Well, no, see the funny thing is what he did is he took an antler shed and he threw it at the back,
And
tried to trap me.
And then you,
Yeah, and then I had to go in and get it. Smart kid. So we're just up at the house, the beaver house here, right behind us, and doesn't seem to be anything in it. And there's another house over there, but there doesn't seem to be anything out in it either. So, have to keep an eye on this in the summer. Maybe we'd put a trail camera out and see if where they move in, because it's a weird kind of. It opens up as a spring at the top, and then it flows down into the river. So I'm guessing they must come up, and they must come up every year from down below. But I'd like to encourage them to cause problems on my brother's property, because then I could actually make use of them. Because they can't actually be here. That'll flood this we're actually on a bridge right now. They'll flood the whole place out, and that's not any good for anybody. And it would flood my whole brother's property out as well. So it has to be kept in check. So that's something that we have to monitor. But yeah, I'd like to get them over this way so that I could deal with the problem instead of, you know, being right on we're right on the boundary, the property boundary here. So I'd have to talk to the owners here and see if we can work that out. Beaver meat's good. It's good meat. Oh, I guess we're up by the sawmill. Sawmill is just over here. But we found a perfect little tunnel system, and I guarantee you with 99% certainty there's actually cottontail in there right now. So they've got a trail here, and there's a network of tracks here. So obvious is obvious. We're going to be setting a trap right here in this vicinity, and I'd say there's a 99% chance we're going to catch a cottontail right there. Okay, so as I've learned with cottontails versus snowshoe hare care about everything. For some reason, cottontails don't care about anything. So we can make a mess here and they won't be any wiser because they'll go in a metal trap. I haven't tried a metal trap for snowshoe hare, but it might work. You think?
I don't know.
It might be an interesting experiment anyway.
Yeah.
So we got apple. Best thing to do is crush it up and release all the sand. And then you want to throw it in or me? You got it.
Sure. Got it.
Oh, trap set.
Uh-oh, you tripped it.
I tripped the trap.
Oops. Didn't throw the apple far enough.
Amateurs.
Yeah.
Amateur hour here. Okay. This is a pretty good trap mechanism here. It just latch up here. Probably not going to be able to tell, but there's a little hooky thing there. And it draws down to the foot pedal there. So when I step on the foot pedal, that pulls that bar loose, and it's wired up in front. Anyway, they're all kind of the same. They're meant to catch them live. The apple's at the back, which means the rabbit has to go all the way to the back to get the apple, and it steps on that, and you get yourself a free meal. So Jeremy's just going to flatten an area out here so the trap sits nice and flat, and we should be able to get ourselves a wild meal. I think that's pretty hard to resist considering it lives just down in there. And there's not too many wild apples out right now either. The question is there one or two or multiple rabbit using this spot? I'm guessing there's probably multiple, so I think we'll set another one around here somewhere, and then we'll find another spot. So whenever there's a concentration of tracks like this, and then a flattened spot around a tree, that tells me that a rabbit's coming in and out there. So this would be another good spot to trap a rabbit. You can see up in there. This is the perfect hiding spot for a rabbit. Unlike snowshoe hare, which are active all day long, got good camouflage, cottontails are only active or mostly active in the night hours because they're brown. They're brown all year, so against the black or against the white backdrop, they stand out like crazy. So they burrow, they'll dig holes, they'll find tunnels, they'll reuse areas. So if they can find a wood pile like that and hang out in there and be protected, they're going to be happy. They run and dart and go into holes. They don't freeze because they just don't have the camo, especially in the winter.
This one's got a slightly different mechanism, but yeah, that one just has a little toe. Not to squish the apple, but this one's, I can just finger squish that one.
Yeah,
oh,
that'll work.
Probably get drunk off that.
I don't know if you're allowed to lick your finger because I think it's in the store.
All right, I won't.
Not wild. We want to make it as easy as and inviting as possible for the cottontail to slip in there and think it's going to get a free meal. So here's another really active spot. Like you could almost snare a cottontail right in that spot there where it gets tight, but they're all hanging out under here. There's tons and tons and tons of sign. So obviously we're going to be putting a trap right there. That's a little bit hard to resist when you're walking there, not to come in here and grab that apple. So I think the success of this one is probably 100%. That's it. They all kind of have slightly different mechanisms, but all in the same principle. Once they step on the bar pulls down and the latches comes undone, and then this folds up and locks the door in place. So here's our fourth set, and you can't really see because it's covered in snow because it landed all on the foot pedal, so I had to move it back. But there's an old turkey leg in there, wild turkey that it was roadkill, pieces of apple. And this is my big trap, so we're hoping we get one of those raccoons that have been hanging around here causing problems for my brother at the chicken coop. So we can fit a 50 pound raccoon in there. It's huge. So we'll check back in the morning for those, hoping for, did I say 2 rabbit? I think 2 rabbits, 2 cottontails. This one is going to be a fluke if we catch anything, because the raccoons aren't very prone to moving around in this cold weather. They'll wait till the snow crisps up. They'll have a crust on top. They will move around if it's warm, and it's not super cold, just below freezing right now. So there's a chance they move around, but they don't really like to move around in the snow that much. So I'm thinking probably not a raccoon, but I'm thinking 2 cottontail. So let's see, we'll check tomorrow.
Right in?
Yeah.
Yum.
Snack?
Yeah. It's hard to resist.
It's like Halloween candy.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. I'm gonna make sugar this year.
Yeah. Not that hard.
No.
It's gotta be done properly. You can eat that one?
Yep.
Looks pretty good.
Does it ever?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but
that looks pretty tasty. I'm gonna talk more about these cutting boards in a second. They're a gift from a friend, mutual friend.
Yep.
And he's done a really awesome job at them too.
Get the breast meat out.
Yeah.
Because this.
Oh, it's at the back. That's the back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
It's just a little bit tricky.
Sure. It's almost like I feel like taking that rack out and just soaking it in the grease too. Want to do that? No?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Too hot?
We could spoon it over after. Maybe I'll take the rack out so it's easy to spoon out.
So this fits in perfectly with our wild theme because obviously, and it's from the area here too.
Local goose.
Local goose. And there's a ton of fat in it, like it's all dripped down into the tray. But this is, you would eat something like this for breakfast?
I don't really eat breakfast very often.
No.
If I eat breakfast, it is sometimes just like the leftover stew or soup or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fatty because it's late season goose.
Mm-hmm.
So fattened up quite a bit for the winter, or for us. I'm gonna do mine a little bit less elegantly. I'm just gonna soak it. Whoa, splashy hot grease. I'm just gonna soak it in there. I think that's the best way to get the most value. Cut it up a little bit. Let it all that juice get back into the meat. There we go. Beauty. And then we have, to go with it, some black walnuts. These are obviously pre-shelled. A couple years ago we did that. So that's going to be on the side, I think. That work?
Yep.
Yeah. So on the side. Like that. And the rest you have is mostly spices, right? So.
Yeah.
So far we have.
Smell that and see if it's.
That smells good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the yarrow and the toasted sedge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just sprinkle a little bit more. This we did put some on earlier, but.
Kevin's here. Woo! We got the whole crew now. Have a seat. Did you bring a fork?
No.
Jeremy's got spice here, and we're trying to figure out what it smells like. We know my adobo smells like, so that smells good. Smells like, I don't know, tropical.
Yeah.
Right? Cajun-y a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, what did you say is sedge, yarrow, anything else?
I think a little bit of salt.
You put salt in there too? Is that a cheat?
It's salt I made.
You made
from the
salt?
ocean.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know you had salt.
I made it when I was in Grenada. I just have like 2 handfuls, and we're using it very sparingly.
What? Last year you made it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. You're going back there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hoping to bring salt back?
A couple kilograms, yeah.
Will they let you?
Yeah.
I guess so, right?
Just
Go to Newfoundland.
Just salt.
yeah.
It's actually,
You got any sugar?
this smells good. You put on, yeah, we have
maple sugar.
Is that your maple sugar?
my maple sugar.
This is my maple sugar?
There's maple syrup there.
That's my maple sugar.
Well,
I
take my
finished it.
trees.
Anyway, so the sedge, we figure it smells like a bale of hay, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't mind the smell of it. I think it smells good.
The sedge, when you toast it, it smells like popcorn.
You smell that?
Yeah, it doesn't smell bad.
And the yarrow smells
Very hay.
planty.
And the walnuts, what would you say the walnuts smell like?
Walnuts.
They don't though.
Like store walnuts.
No, they don't. In Sam Thayer's book, he says, well, you can't smell very
And
well.
no, not top notch, but
So
smell like walnuts.
Sam Thayer says they smell. His buddy said they smelled like paint.
They do sometimes smell like paint thinner.
Paint thinner.
What is this?
Yeah, like acrylic or like oil-based paint. That's a black walnut.
It's not good.
It's
It's not good.
it's a wild walnut. So we got goose, walnut. So that walnut would be our fat protein, a little bit of carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So we need more carbs. So that's where the sugar's going to come in.
Yeah, a little bit of carbs in the spice.
Maple syrup, a good amount. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that.
Protein and fat in the goose.
Now we got a lot in there.
Oops, too much maple syrup.
No, said nobody ever.
Hmm.
So that's going to round it out. Well, that's good. You got a tea going, or is that still sugar?
It's just sugar water.
So you've got some other stuff for tea.
Mm-hmm.
If it's
Good.
dry, dunk it back in there.
Oh, it was dunked.
Kevin's drinking regular coffee, by the way, from a really short chair, and Jeremy also has a very short chair. In case you're wondering what's going on there. It's good.
It was very good.
Very good.
It's okay.
What?
I'm gonna edit your brother out of my video. I've only been eating wild food for 60 days, so everything tastes pretty good.
It kind of tastes like roast beef, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Roast beef and duck.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of that ducky flavor.
I can only compare it to roast beef because that's all I've eaten.
I find it tastes a little bit like pork too. You know, when sometimes you can taste pork in the back of your nose.
Mm-hmm.
I get a bit of that off the goose.
Need some sugar?
More sugar than my very, very strong coffee.
The walnuts are definitely a strong flavor.
Yeah, they are
Lots-
pretty strong.
A lot stronger than like a domestic variety of walnut, but they're good. Apparently they're good baked. I asked Jeremy to bring up some flours so we could try to do some baking, because he's been experimenting with different seeds to make breads.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious to see what they were like, if they were anything like a modern bread. They're probably pretty heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
they're
he's
a bit
been
like pancakes usually.
and you've been using fish eggs as a binder,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of interesting. It's like perch eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been blending them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put in the blender.
Yeah, or just whip them with a fork.
Yeah. And then you mix that in the bread, and it will help hold it together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sometimes a bit of applesauce too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to my roots of the Wilderness Living Challenge
Yeah.
a little bit, and I will only be eating wild food this weekend. So,
And Wadobo spice.
and maybe some Wadobo.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. I'll try not to.
All right.
I think this is flavored really well with,
I like it.
like, the maple syrup on meat is it just rounds it out. That's your
Yeah.
problem. You don't have any syrup on your meat.
Nothing wrong with it.
You don't have a plate.
Nothing wrong with it.
Now it's good.
I didn't say it was bad to start with.
It's not going to be hard for us to maintain our weight this weekend, because we're not going to be burning a lot of calories. We're not going to be building anything. We're not going to be running around too much. We're going to set some traps later for cottontail. Walk around, see what we can find. If we can find a crow, we'll take a crow. There's not a whole lot open right now. There's coyote. Fox is open year round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not really very good game species for eating.
It's not likely that you'll see one either, right?
No, and as far as like eating wild foods, this is like the time when you're kind of relying on things that you have stored. So Jeremy will be in high gear come spring. He'll be out there
Yeah.
trying to find everything. You know,
Mhm.
wild leeks is going to be huge for you, right?
Leeks, fiddleheads, smelt run, sucker run,
Yeah,
and then all the fishing seasons that open in May. All the other spring ephemerals, the trout lilies,
yeah.
cattail shoots, then the cattail pollen, and then strawberries, and then just on through the summer. Everything's got its week.
There's lots of fiddleheads here.
Hack another piece off. He's well fed. What are you doing here?
Hi.
What do you got?
We brought your raccoon.
You brought raccoon?
Yep. And the flashlights.
Yeah. Come in.
It's like kind of delivery.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You got a delivery of raccoon for Jeremy. Jeremy ordered out.
Carney delivers for Uber Eats.
There you go.
That's it. Raccoon meat
Yep.
for some raccoon burgers.
That'll be good.
Goose looks good.
Grind it up. Yeah, it's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one piece. Only one piece of goose?
No.
Very nice. Only seen it on YouTube. Awesome. Have you seen all this? Hold?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you can turn that off now.
What? Piece of goose meat? Good?
It's okay.
It's okay? It's not great?
Mm-mm.
What?
I don't like it.
You don't like the goose meat? Oh man. Somebody said you should be a food critic. Because you always give honest feedback.
What don't you like about it?
I don't know. It just doesn't really have a flavor.
It probably doesn't have too much on it, eh?
No, that was plain, like, I
Yeah.
didn't put oil on it. Or
Right.
maple syrup. You might like it with maple syrup on it.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Are you going to swallow it?
It's super chewy though.
Yeah, it's pretty chewy. Jeremy's still digging in.
Yep. I'm just trying to figure out what we'll do with the rest of it. If we're gonna
Right.
take it off and add it to our stew, or just kind of set it aside and simmer it. Make a soup base that I can take home, or
Yep, it's yours.
something. Super greasy though, eh?
What were you noticing?
The distance between the loft and the round window. Some of your viewers were making suggestions about making it an opening so you could go out, but it's really far away.
It needs a bridge.
A bridge. I don't know how safe that would be. This is cool though. Hey buddy? You've been hanging out up there though.
Those crows are in season all year long, no limits, no nothing, not controlled animal, so keeping an eye on them. If we had a shotgun, probably could pick a couple off. They fly over the cabin all the time. They don't like owls, so an owl, they'll come in and attack it. So the idea is to do a set where you get a crow caller out, and you throw an owl decoy and a bunch of crows, and they'll come in and literally attack the owl. And then you shoot them and eat them. That's a video that's coming. I'm gonna do it. We might be able to pick one off with the, got a 22 here. They don't tend to want to land anywhere near here though. They land in the fields and they eat the corn. The thing about the rabbit, it's really super lean and also super chewy. So it's something we want to get on right away so that it'll be ready for dinner. We're only at lunch now. We got 2 squirrels, I think, another hare I snared up north, and this one we shot a couple years ago. Not ideal way to store it in the freezer, but it is possible to leave them in the freezer and skin them, cut them later. Doesn't I don't find it spoils it at all. The intestines, as long as you don't wait too long to gut it, to skin it after you take it out. You don't want it to sit in the fridge for too long, but you need to let it sit in the fridge in order for it to defrost completely, or else you just can't take it apart. So it's preferable to do it right away, but it's not going to hurt it that much. I've noticed no difference. The intestines don't burst or anything like that. It's just sometimes you just don't have time to deal with it.
One hare.
One hare. So we got one hare in the pot so far. Luckily the second one's already cleaned, so it's gonna go in the pot too. And then we're gonna add 2 squirrels. That's a squirrel. They're pretty good size, quite a bit of meat on them. Looks like we have 1 full squirrel and then a couple parts. The part squirrels were actually from leftovers from when Holden and I made squirrel burgers. So I boned them out. So it's basically the torso. So nothing went to waste here. So we've got a good collection here. Just smelling the blood here, but I think we're gonna add that in there as well. That'll add some salts and some nutrients. So pretty good mess of stuff. Add some water, and I think Jeremy has some spices he'll add to it, I think. So we don't want to rely on anything modern. Jeremy's not allowed to use any modern food, any modern sources of food or spices. That's a big stretch. The only real way to eat the squirrel and hare that I found to be palatable is actually to stew it. And if you want to fry it, you can take it out after, take take the meat, break it apart, fry it in oil if you like that, the browning effect. So let's get this on the stove, get it working. All right, so before we forget, I want to give Adam Craig a shout out. He made these beautiful cutting boards. This is black walnut or walnut?
Yep.
It's walnut anyway.
Yep.
I don't know if it's black walnut, but it's super, super nice. Jeremy's got a maple, we think.
Yeah, this
Probably
one's
maple.
maple. Nice thick cutting board.
Yeah, super. These are like better than what I expected. When Adam said he was starting a business making cutting boards, I'm like, okay, I'll give you a plug.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Adam's a friend, but I would have no hesitation saying these are the wicked boards.
Yeah.
So Adam's going into business. The information will be down in the description if you're interested in ordering one of these. He's starting up a home business making them. Yeah. So you've got, do you memorize the contact information? It was
inthestickswoodworking.com is the website. You can look at the product that he's making, and you know, if you like them, I would order them fast, because I think every piece is a custom piece, and what you see is what's in stock.
Yeah.
And you can email them. You know, I'm not sure if he's shipping to the United States, for example, but if you want to know,
send him a message.
Send him an email.
Yeah.
inthestickswoodworking@gmail.com.
And if you buy one of these, you're supporting me, because Adam supports our channels, and it helps us out whenever we need him.
Yeah.
When he's out doing trapping for us when we need some food, or we just want an adventure, he's always there for us. So.
Yeah.
No problem shouting him out, and like I say, it's a really good product.
I was out in the bush hunting for some wood, and I found some wood. It's good when you hunt wood. This is a slab of walnut that was cut earlier, and it was stickered and drying outside. So I'm sending that out to Adam Craig Outdoors. He made those cutting boards for the boys. So we'll see what he can make with this thing.
Jeremy kind of got stuck out here, so we got to get a plow out. But preemptively addressing this so tomorrow we don't get stuck. Nice to have a tractor. I told Jer, if we come all the way out here and we can't get back out, it's okay, because it'll get towed back out. Kevin likes to run the tractor anyway. Let's see how our stew's coming along. Not too bad. Let's get rid of the lid here. Check it. So that meat is right at the point where it's starting to be tough. You do not want to eat it in the tough stage. It helps a lot if you add fat and also salt. So I'm going to consult Jeremy and see what he has to add in here as far as spices go. If he's got a salt to add to it, now's the time to do it. That'll help break it down. It's like the 3 or 4 hour mark where things start to really get good, and it helps to break this up as well. So we may have to do that. Take it apart and help it along the process here. Cover that back up, and then this live trap here, working on that. I just brought it inside here because we want to get rid of the snow here, melt it off so the mechanisms work properly. It's a big trap, so it has to function. All the parts need to move. So we'll get this loaded up, try to get ourselves a raccoon or bigger animal. Alright, so what are you thinking?
I'm thinking we're going to add a little bit of fat to that stew, and we'll throw in the last of my spice that I brought. How hot's the lid?
Pretty hot. There's a glove behind it. That'll help.
Yeah, that's at a nice temperature there. And
yeah, no, it's just right. Feel free to add more fat if you want. What's the plan with the goose?
I'm not sure yet, except that we're not going to do anything with it as one giant goose, so I'm just going to break it all down, try and get some of the boneless meat off, and then set the carcass aside. I have a slow cooker, so I'll just throw it all in there, and then I can make soup later at home.
Yeah.
Or we can make soup in the big pot, or
Yeah.
we have lots of other food to eat though, so I think it's just kind of to tidy it up. And there's lots of nice goose grease in the bottom of the pan too, right?
Yeah. Tons of
So
it.
I'm pretty happy to scoop up all that.
Yeah, it's goose combo bear fat.
Yeah.
Probably there's quite a bit of goose, I think.
Yeah, well, even if you look on here, like this is pure fat right here, right?
Yeah. No, there's
So
a
there's-
good 1/4 inch of just fat on this, including the skin
Yeah.
on each. All right. So this is a rabbit, and if you just leave it in there and let it soak and things like that, it'll eventually kind of break down. But we found if you actually break things apart, it ends up doing a lot better job. So even just quartering it increases the surface area, and that will help break down the meat fibers. Because right now, if you try to bite into that, it's going to be super chewy. Here, you want to try to bite into it?
Already chewing on some goose.
You're chewing on the goose.
Yeah.
So it's not horrible, but you can see the fibers are still, they're still fibers. And when you can break it apart with your hand, it's I would consider it edible. So there's something about the salt and the fat in the water that will help it break down. So right now I'd say that's not even close. If you have to pull and work hard, people don't like to chew food, and then when they eat wild game and they have to chew, they think wild game's no good. But really it's just about treating the wild game properly, and part of that is giving it time to relax. So we'll just separate it, all the quarters here, and we'll put that back in the drink. We'll make sure we have enough salt, spices, and fat to help it break down. So I'm going to break that up. I'm going to break the hare up. I'm going to break the squirrel up. Jeremy's obviously taking care of that, so that's going to be leftovers for him. Lots of fat in there. So we're probably going to scoop some of this fat and add it just to help break things down. Nobody likes to eat really dry wild meat. It's not good.
Make some tea. All right, some big wild year tea. Just chewing on maple sugar candy.
What else is in it?
Okay, yarrow, raspberry leaf, Labrador tea, goldenrod, sweet fern, rose hips, and haw-berries. That's kind of typical of what I would make tea with. So normally what I would do is use this amount of tea for a bigger amount of liquid, but we'll just dump it in and then we'll just keep adding hot water on top through the evening. And you don't want to boil your tea, you just want to pour boiling water on it. So we just brought that water to a boil, put our mix in, and then we'll just let it steep.
I see.
Whoop.
I don't drink tea.
Enough for a taste?
It's good. Here, you want yours?
Yeah. I think I'll pour it on the floor though, because I'm getting some.
What's going on the floor anyway?
Oh, fine. It's fine.
Fine enough for this tablecloth.
Yeah. It's not
It'll be
gonna.
better the second time.
Everybody likes a little bit of crumbs in their tea.
Yeah. That's how you know it's authentic.
Some weed. There's some weeds in here. That's for sure. Weed's legal in Canada if you're curious. Come visit.
A big flood of tourists.
Yeah. I'm not a tea drinker. Tastes like herbal tea. Anytime I've ever had an herbal tea, that's what it tastes like. So it's a collection of weeds, right?
Yeah.
It's weed tea.
Yeah. Each one's got its own flavor and they're all different.
Texture.
Yeah.
If someone gives you a gift of tea, and you're like, oh, herbal teas, and you have one, and you're like, tastes like an herbal tea. So, it replicates the idea of tea, right?
I drink over a liter of tea every day now. Partly because my only other option is to drink hot water. I don't have any coffee or anything like that. So it's just herbal tea with whatever mixes I have and feel like doing that day. And figure, you're getting some nutrients out of it, some electrolytes, medicinals. So it's good for drinking.
Are you selling herbal tea now?
Yeah, I'm
Medicinal?
going to start packaging.
Weed tea?
Yeah. One Wildcrafter tea.
How did you adjust from going from caffeine free?
It took me 2 days, so I had headaches for 2 days, and then I was fine. But I still, especially driving down here was really weird, because normally I would stop for a coffee in Gravenhurst and fill up gas. It's like the thing you do when you drive south from North Bay. And I'd have a bag of potato chips, and so it was really weird to stop at a coffee shop and use the washroom and not buy anything in there.
And eat stew on the way up?
And eat, from
a crock pot.
Yeah, I was eating bits of grouse out of a crock pot on my drive down. Yeah, so that's weird. Yeah, and even at work especially, because you have a coffee break with no coffee. And I often would come in the morning, and sometimes I still check my pocket for coffee change. I'm like, oh yeah, not this year, bud.
You're saving so much money on coffee alone.
$70 a month, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money on coffee.
Well, and that's less than a lot of people would spend.
Yeah.
You figure 2 coffees a day is $3.60. You do that 5 days a week at work, then you're up $15, $18 a week times 4 is 40 plus 30 something. You're up over $70 right there.
Yeah.
Plus the coffee you drink at home.
All you have to do is spend a little bit of time collecting goldenrod and other things.
And you have to really, really want to quit coffee, because a lot of people swear they couldn't do it.
And there's still no caffeine in it.
In this?
Yeah.
No. There's only one North American plant with caffeine in it, and I'm not about to travel down to North Carolina to get it.
We're just going to take a quick drive up to another property. We have a coyote set. It's a really cool coyote set. This manufacturer sent me a trap, and we've been trying to live trap a coyote. Everybody says it's not possible. You'll never get a coyote to go inside a trap. So I want to take you over to show it. It's going to kind of be a teaser for a future video. But if we manage to catch one, I'll be pretty impressed. But this trap is pretty cool. So I'm going to take Jeremy over. We're going to check it, because we've been checking it every day. Because if you have any traps set, you have to make sure you check them all the time. Because it's not fair to the animal to just leave it in a trap for a long time. So head over there and I'll show you guys what we're up to. There is a trap here. I don't know, you can't see it because it's that well hidden. There's a trap right here. I want to show you. So this is a set for big game animal, coyote specifically. There's a goat leg in there. We've got a leftover goose that's been breasted out up in the tree. And there's little bits of goat meat around here. And then there's a full goat buried. You can see just the antler sticking out. You can see inside there's the goat leg. Thought I'd bring Jeremy out here and show the trap. We could check it because we're checking this trap every day. And Mark's busy goose hunting.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do our duty here and check, make sure there's nothing in it, and it's not chipped off yet. There's tracks around, but I think they're domestic dog tracks. There's some tracks out in the field, coyote tracks and whatnot. But yeah, what do you think of the trap?
It's hard to tell with the way it's camouflaged.
Yeah.
What's all on the side of this trap? It's not square shaped. It's
Oh, so there's actually, you can put a live animal on the inside there.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite the rig. So it's for challenging catches, right? So if you put like a chicken in there, or
yeah, or a bunny or a squirrel or something.
Yeah, anything. Put it in there, and then anything that goes to investigate it trips those wires, and then the doors slam down. They're spring loaded, so they shoot down real quick. If you can catch fish in it, beaver in it, you can set it in water.
Yeah.
Well, we're losing our daylight, but we have a backup plan. Let's get you in film here. We have the generator. We could hook the generator up. This is not wired. So we're gonna get a battery rocking. Kevin just ran off to get one. It's got an inverter and a battery, so we're gonna get a pigtail light at least. So we're not quite fully operational with the cabin, but we're making do. You see the light out here, but no direct power. We're almost there. We're really close. We didn't want to wire up all the light bulbs and then have to take them all out in order to drywall, insulate, and board everything. So today's really the only time we're going to be out here in the dark until it's pretty much completed.
I'm in this dangerous chair here.
I didn't think of it that way, but it should be fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall off the porch.
You might, but it'll be your fault entirely.
Not yours for putting one leg off the edge. It's barely on.
Is it?
I should be good. It's pretty close. The back one. It's like an inch. I'm good. Just don't push.
If I want to.
Well, resist.
Alright, there you go. That's better. Alright, so this is probably good a time as any to interrupt Jeremy for an interview.
Yeah. In the middle of eating?
Yeah, in the middle of eating. Apparently there's a word for this sort of thing. It's called a mukbang. I never knew it was a thing. Like eating.
I didn't until like yesterday.
Eating and talking. We've been doing this ever since the channel started, and it's apparently the whole thing. I think you're supposed to eat and chew really loudly, which of course offends most of the North American crowd. This maple syrup. Would you put maple syrup on that?
I put it on everything.
There you go.
I put it on my toothbrush when I brush my teeth.
It's a surefire way to get rid of cavities. So, I try to anticipate some of the questions you guys might have as an interviewer of the man who only eats wild food. So, is this a typical meal that you would eat? Like squirrel? You haven't probably had squirrel yet.
I haven't had squirrel yet this year, and I don't have any in my freezer.
Hare you've already had probably.
Not this year, but I have a couple in my freezer to eat.
So, you're eating a lot of bear meat because you have a lot of bear meat? How many pounds of bear meat do you eat every day?
When I have bear meat, I probably eat a pound of it.
A pound.
Which is about 1,400 calories. But then I also eat bear fat with the bear meat.
Right.
So, I'm not sure. It's pretty hard for me to estimate my calorie intake because I'm not weighing my food. And a lot of wild food doesn't have good nutritional information available.
It doesn't. No, you're right.
Especially for micronutrients. So if you want to know how much magnesium and selenium and whatever you're getting out of your wild greens, good luck. So my strategy is just to eat as much diversity as I can and eat until I'm full.
Is your experiment an extension of the Wilderness Living Challenge?
Yes and no. Yes in that it's generally all foods that we collected under our own steam and our own power. And it's generally all wild or feral foods. So apple trees aren't really wild.
They're wild.
Sometimes they're just like ones that people have left for decades.
Yeah, they're wild.
But
I think most people would be on board to consider an apple tree that's in the forest that doesn't have any human.
Or Jerusalem artichokes.
Yeah.
You know, are they really wild? Like they're in a patch that nobody's taken care of for 5 years. So I use the word feral sometimes, Delphine does too, and then we just don't want people to think that we're lying if we say we're eating all wild food. So we say wild and feral.
Right. But it's not agriculturally based foods.
Yeah, not at all.
It's
Nothing from the garden.
Not from a farm, not from a garden.
Sorry. We have garlic. We have 40 bulbs of garlic and we've used them sparingly.
Right. And that's could easily be replaced with leeks if you have
which we use a lot of.
Which if you get the timing right. There's literally you can pile in piles and piles of leeks.
Yeah.
But the timing is crucial. So that brings up the next question. Did you start off the year with no food?
No. Yeah, so that's how it's not like the Wilderness Living Challenge. We started the year off with full freezers and cupboards of food that we had collected all through the last, even over a year. I have blueberries from 2 years ago. And every once in a while I find something in the back of my cupboard. Oh, birch syrup from 2015. Score. That's a wild food.
Right.
So we did not start from scratch.
Yeah. And when did you start the Big Wild year? Like what time of year, I guess? I mean, we're obviously in the current year, but whenever you're watching this, it might not be the current year.
I just spit out the claw of something. Would that be a squirrel claw?
That was the squirrel. Yeah.
We started it at midnight on December 31st, January 1st.
Right. Would you start again if you were to do it again? I mean, you haven't gone for the full year. Would you start again at the same time? Like you started in a calendar year.
Yeah. That was a really easy way to do it. We figured there was no best day to start it on. If you're starting from scratch, you know, again, it's like, ooh, when do I start in the spring when things start to grow? Do I start in the fall when my big game are available? You know, it's from scratch would maybe be a different consideration. And for us, it was just easier to do it on a calendar year.
Yeah. And nobody who lives off the land or used to live off the land started from nothing.
No, generally not.
If you're wondering about those sounds, they're snowmobiles. So we're also snow if they're taking advantage of it. But we'll still won't interrupt our interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. She started in December, and you used foods that you had collected mostly from the year previous, but also from previous years.
Yeah.
So anything went, and you're trying to adhere as best possible to collecting your own food. So as part of the Wilderness Living Challenge, if you guys are familiar with that, it's basically a series where we go out, we start with nothing, and then we try to maintain our body weight, which is a big twist on survival, where it's been tested so many different times where you just start off with nothing, but you lose body weight, and you use that to maintain yourself throughout the experiment or the challenge. And people just generally lose a pound a day.
Yeah.
Until the challenge is over, which could be any number of days. I mean, good friends with Zach Fowler, and he went 87 days, I think, officially, losing about a pound a day.
On this TV series alone.
Yeah, on alone. And then I brought Zach on our challenge, which we originated, and I don't know spoilers because it's worth watching that series too, but there's always
and he's just releasing his now.
Yeah, actually, so maybe
don't spoil it.
I won't say anything at all, but my version of it's already out. If you want to catch up there, you can go ahead and do it. But so that was a different twist, was to measure our weight. So people would be probably curious to know, at this point in time, you're 2 months in now. So if you were surviving, you would typically have lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? If you weren't eating anything and you're carrying on your daily
pound a day.
So how many pounds have you lost so far?
About 25.
25.
Yeah.
So you're losing about a half a pound a day right now. And
yeah, a little bit less.
Do you feel like you're stabilizing? Because at some point you have to stabilize, or else you're going to be in the hospital.
So this past week was the first week that I didn't lose weight compared to the week previous. But then since that week, going into the next week, I feel like I might lose weight again.
Yeah.
But this weekend might put me up a bit.
You think you're doing better? Like more consistent eating?
We're eating more than we're burning compared to other times that you and I have been out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not out like collecting the stuff, running around, burning calories. We're just kind of hanging out. Pretty leisurely. You have the benefit of having a cabin. We're not having to go out, chop wood, collect wood. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how many calories you need for the year. It's about 1 million. How many calories do you have stored up left? Like, are you running out of food now 2 months in? Are you looking forward to spring and fall?
Yeah, we're running out of greens. So we're looking forward to greens.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of your pictures are lacking in greens and carbs.
And the greens, there's no starch right now. So we're looking forward to a change in season and accessing those fresh greens, getting a new batch of leeks and of fiddleheads, all the spring shoots that you can eat and the spring roots before they blossom. We found out that we really like the sunchokes, the Jerusalem artichokes. And they're like a starch, so they're inulin.
Right.
instead of starch, so
Yep.
they're a different molecule, and I hadn't realized that, but I've learned a little bit about it, and you know, it's fascinating reading the difference between inulin and starch, and
Yeah.
the way your body breaks it down. It encourages more colon bacteria, which is, you know, the very last part of your digestive tract. And our Western diets typically do not encourage colon bacteria, but you hear of all kinds of people with colon cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
we know that bacteria are important for your health. So I find that really interesting.
Yeah, and there's lots of room, like
Energy dense.
anecdotal evidence about how eating Jerusalem artichokes will get pretty windy. You'll get pretty
Yeah.
gassy, and you haven't found that.
I think that's because people don't cook them. So
They
I
try
have.
try to eat them raw or undercooked.
I think
or,
people eat them raw, like a carrot or something. They or they julienne them and put them in a salad, and I think they probably do give you a lot of gas that way. But we've typically cooked ours in a stew like this, or our favorite thing to do with them is to rehydrate them with warm water, and then drain them, and then throw them into a pan of raccoon fat or bear fat, and you basically can make a potato chip out of them.
Right.
And it satisfies my potato chip craving, which is one of my strongest cravings that I've had.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not eating anything from the grocery store at all. No food at all from,
No.
from the grocery store.
No wild caught salmon, no nothing.
Do you think you're the only person in recent times, like last 50, 60, 70 years, who's eating non-agricultural food
In North
exclusively?
America?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that I have heard about.
So they're the only man in the world who eats wild food.
I'm not saying
Not
the
the world.
world.
Not the world. Sorry, I gotta correct it.
Yeah.
Not the world, because there are definitely some subsistence livers out there who are
Yeah.
eating only wild.
And there are people who are eating a lot of wild food, but they're incorporating it, or they drink coffee. You know, they're using flour, they're using canola oil. And I have nothing against that. I just, if I'm looking for inspiration or a really good source from somebody who's done it, I don't know anybody who's done it for more than a straight month. So previous to this, Samuel Thayer has done it for over a month. You know, maybe Arthur Haynes has done it for an extended period of time. Other people who are into foraging. I always forget the name, the author of the guy who has that subsistence.
Oh, the one in
In
Texas.
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember it offhand.
But we could maybe put a picture of the book here or something.
Yeah, or throw it down. I'll throw it down in the description. But it's a really good book. You should invest in that one if you're interested in survival. It's a Texas-based survival book.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped me out a lot when I went to Texas to figure out what to do there as far as food went.
Yeah. So people are incorporating a lot of wild food in their diet, maybe even up to 80%.
Well, hunters especially, right? Hunters and fishers. You know, a lot of people supplement a lot of
Yeah.
their daily calories and protein and fats from.
Yeah.
But doing it exclusively is a whole nother.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother thing.
It is.
I mean, just the amount of willpower that you need must be amazing. Like to watch somebody else eat the food, or to just want to comfort food. Because I know from
Yeah.
doing the Wilderness Living Challenge, at the end of the 7 days, I'm like, okay, I'm done, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have my breakfast back.
Yeah, and
I
your
miss that
rice.
the most. Yeah, the
Your
rice.
butter.
Yeah, just the easy carbs, I think, is the main thing. Just the calories and ease of preparation. You know, you're not getting your hands dirty and.
So this is maybe sounds contradictory, but I actually am able to control some of my cravings by cooking what I crave for my children. And it's almost like living vicariously through them. And then at the same time, what I find really hard is, like, one of my biggest changes in the last 2 months is that and people on your channel know that I have chronic sinus issues, because we talk about it and joke about it. My sinuses are not inflamed right now. I can breathe through both of my nostrils, which has not happened in a long time without a heavy medication. I can smell foods, and I've found cooking things for my kids, and I can smell their toast, I can smell their butter now, I can smell the curry sauce. Those sometimes they just hit me like, whoa, that smells good.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just very novel to be able to smell again.
So you really know what you're missing.
Yeah. And I'm sure all that food that I crave would probably taste even better now that I can smell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So when this year's up, that'll be the next challenge. Will be to not just go gung-ho on all the regular foods, because I don't want my sinuses inflamed the way they were before.
Yeah. Like I said, it brings up the next question is like, why do it? Why bother?
Yeah, prove a point.
To prove a point, what's the point?
Why climb a mountain?
See what's on top, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, and this is one of those things,
challenge?
because like, I like watching Alone. I like our wilderness living challenges, and we always talk about like, man, you couldn't sustain this, or like,
Right. Yeah.
you couldn't do this indefinitely, or like, well, you know what, I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
And but it's different because I stockpiled in advance a bit.
Right.
Um,
So obviously the next level to this is to actually do a full year. And I've been toying with the idea of doing it
yeah.
for a while. To me, it's like preparation, right? It's like,
Yeah.
do I want to dedicate a year just to harvesting and collecting food?
Well, see, this was a challenge for us because we have lots of kids between Delphi and I.
Yeah.
Jobs,
Yeah.
school,
Right.
aging parents,
Yeah.
and life. You know, it's not like we're 19 and idealists and can dedicate 100% of our time to it.
Yeah, it's a huge time sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
Because when you go to the store and you buy food, it's already ready. It takes such a small amount. Like when you come home and you want a meal, you
Yeah.
put frozen fries, frozen broccoli in a pot.
Yeah, you just reheat and eat, right?
Yeah, I mean the stuff's already made for you. It's already in the package. It's already ready to go. It's like the prep time is like there's
Yeah.
no prep time. It's zero. Versus this meal took us all day to cook, and it's still not to my liking. It's still a little bit chewy, and there's still not enough fat in there. Like
Yeah.
from having done it so many times,
Yeah.
it just takes so much more
Mm-hmm.
care put into your food to make it enjoyable. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Think of the maple syrup. That's that's a whole spring project.
Yeah.
To have sugar.
that's our next, like, we haven't had a lot of good luck ice fishing. We were counting on, we kind of budgeted, right? A food budget, and we were counting on 400 pounds of fish this year, I think. And we have not caught fish this winter. We took home 27 perch and pickerel one day, but otherwise we've kind of struck out. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to spring because I have really good summer fishing luck, and I can get into catfish, which we know are
Mm.
like a really serious supply of meat. And
Yeah,
there's
and
going to
it's-
be a smelt run in a few weeks. And
And the catfish is good meat.
Mm.
It's very filling meat. It's not a very lean meat. It's got some substance to it. And
Yeah.
I think finding that fat is really key. I think it's where the bear came in for you.
Mhm.
You've been eating a lot of bear meat because the bear meat's fat.
I
Fatty
didn't
meat.
know that raccoon fat was so good.
Yeah.
If I would have known that, I would have doubled up on raccoons for sure. But we had 2 raccoons, and we were cleaning them, and they're kind of gross because they're just like a big fat marshmallow. And you peel all that fat off, and then they're like a cat. And then, Delphi said, I don't think I'm going to eat these. But now they're her second favorite meat. So her favorite is bear, and then raccoon, and then venison's down at the bottom of the list somewhere. I would have doubled up on raccoons.
Yeah.
And next year,
and
because we will carry, I'm sure we're going to carry this on as a big portion of our diet.
yeah.
Next year I'll double up on raccoons for sure.
And raccoons is one of those rare wild animals that actually has tons of fat on it.
Mhm.
It's like there's bear and then there's raccoon.
Yeah.
And those are pretty comparable. In fact, probably the raccoon is
Pound for pound,
fattier.
they're fattier.
I would say. Yeah.
I got as much fat off of those 2 raccoons as I did off of one of those bears.
Yeah. And the trick with raccoon is you have to clean it properly so you don't
Yes.
get the glands in it. I mean, you can screw up any meat. Even a domestic animal you could screw up. But when we've cleaned animals, we've learned like the porcupine has scent glands. If you pick up an animal and it smells,
Mhm.
it's because it's emitting an armpit-like body odor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's to communicate with other animals for mating purposes or territorial purposes. So you
Yeah.
actually have to get rid of those scent glands. I mean, the deer's the same thing. They have a tarsal gland. And if you get into the tarsal gland, the meat smells.
Mhm.
It smells like rutted up animal. If it's a buck. So there is a trick to making wild foods palatable
Yeah.
for sure. And part of it just starts right away at cleaning.
Yeah.
So like, what's one of the weirdest animals you've eaten so far? There's all over here. Kind of check them off before. Like, is there any weird ones?
In this big wild year,
Yeah.
acorn weevils.
Yeah, so that's
Maybe.
like a
lot
grub?
Yeah, it's a grub that you get in acorns. They're a white grub, and we picked up, we didn't pick as many acorns as we wished we had because it was a kind of a crop failure year. And then a certain portion of them have weevils in them. I don't quite like the taste of them, so when I found them, I just throw them in my freezer in a little jar and cook them up. So they would be considered kind of weird, I think.
Yeah. I think probably to most viewers, a raccoon would be pretty weird.
Yeah.
Like a squirrel, kind of
Yeah.
weird. It's kind of like you're just a redneck hick if you eat a squirrel. But
My raccoon is probably not the same as most people's raccoon because I'm back in the bush, and my raccoon is a wild-fed raccoon. It is not the trash panda of urban fame that's eating people's diapers and leftover sandwiches and shoelaces and things.
yeah, yeah, I've heard actually stories about bears, like their favorite food is diapers.
Yeah.
There must be lots of nutrients left in
I don't know if that's true or not.
in
but-
baby whatever.
Yeah.
It would make sense, but easy meal for them. So yeah, they're not like they're wild. Wild animals are a lot cleaner than city nuisance animals.
Yeah.
I call them nuisance animals because they're basically just eating human waste, garbage, and whatever. So
Yeah.
they're eating a lot of rotten things.
Yeah.
Not to say that wild animals can't be eating rotten things, but they come across rotten things a
different.
lot less often than they would in the city. So the diseases spread a lot less.
Yeah, and I haven't got or eaten a beaver yet this year. So I'm really hoping to connect with Adam Craig Outdoors. He has a trap line that he might go assist on, and
Yeah. And
so I'm hoping.
we've had good experiences eating beaver.
Yeah. You can't say it with a straight face, eh?
I can't.
So in some of the wilderness living challenges, we've eaten a lot of beaver. Like 2 of them.
Yeah.
Pull yourself together, man.
Trying. Yeah. I think probably the series that we've done, where we've actually legitimately tried to catch food to keep our weight up, will get you ready for a lot of different things in life. It's one of those things that you're just up against the wall, and if you don't have to eat because you have fat reserves and something to fall back on, you don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably you feel kind of the same place where you don't have a backstop, so you have to go out and collect food.
Yeah.
It's incentivizing, that sort of thing, right?
And you feel so much more resilient when you prove to yourself that you can get your own food outside of a grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, people often talk to me and they really admire what we're doing and they really want to follow it and they're interested. And then they immediately say, I could never do it myself.
Do one level of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all...
Do a meal a week.
do
or
a meal, yeah.
And even like, there are lots of hunters who will never eat a deer tongue, heart, liver.
Right.
So if you jump to the organ meats, you're just increasing your use of that animal and your connection to the natural world. You can go even a step further and learn to eat the stomach and the intestines and
Yeah.
skin, brains.
We've done all that.
We've done all that. Then you really appreciate what you can get off of a single animal.
Yeah. I think one of the best meats I've ever had was bear tongue.
Yeah.
It was just really tender.
Did you have that with Zach?
No, with you.
Oh, from the road-killed one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Season 2.
That was like, I was surprised by it.
Yeah.
It was really good quality meat.
It's very good. And if you get a moose or something, like the tongue is, it's like the size of your arm, right?
Right.
It's a lot of really good meat.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of nutrients that you would not expect to be in those types of, in meat.
Yeah.
Like you can get all your nutrition from meat.
I even saw a recipe for duck tongues.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be something.
Like if you shoot enough ducks and you save all the tongues up, and then
Yeah.
chicken combs. Seen recipes for chicken combs.
You ever seen a recipe for bear claw?
No.
Bear paw, sorry, not claw.
Yeah, it's
but
bear paw.
bear
Yeah.
paw, yeah.
It's,
Yeah. I was thinking about trying to do that, but I think you need a couple paws on the feet, like the back feet. I don't think I have them, but I have a front feet.
Next year.
Next year, yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting to experiment with all that, make use of it, and having to do it, I think, is the incentive, you know.
Hmm.
And it's an artificial experiment. You don't have to eat.
No,
wild
if I
food.
get unhealthy or whatever, like I tap out.
Mhm.
I've still learned a lot. I can still share a lot, and really sharing is a huge part of this because people have misconceptions about wild food. or they have questions about wild food that they won't be able to answer themselves.
Mhm.
And so we try and share broadly on our social media channels, which we've already mentioned, and I'm sure you'll link for me.
Yep.
And continue to do so. And then, you know, on top of that, there are questions that we can't answer by experience, but only by science, I guess. Like, we would like to be able to send in raccoon fat and find out, you know, what are the nutritional constituents of raccoon fat? What's the breakdown between the monos, the dyes, the triglycerides? What's the cholesterol level? Like, you know, what's really in it? Because I've looked and I haven't found. I can find who ate it and how people ate it traditionally in North America, but I can't find nutritional data. And like, at some point I'll probably try and set up a Patreon on my account or something to just get some money to do that analysis. And that's not for me to buy a plane ticket for a moose hunt. That's for me to find out and share that information.
Yeah, we were looking at choke cherries a while back, and we were trying to figure out the toxicity of the pits.
Yeah.
Because everybody says you shouldn't eat the pits because what was it? What's in it?
Arsenic.
Arsenic. And
Or cyanide.
Cyanide, whatever it was. It was very toxic levels, so you can't eat them. But we figured out, well, after quite a bit of research, that if you just actually cook it, it denatures the toxins, and so you can eat it.
And traditionally,
or drying.
when people, or crushing. So crushing the pits actually releases the cyanide in such a way, or the arsenic, that it kind of dissipates, or
right.
And you get more flavor.
I think it is arsenic.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember.
Same as rice.
Yeah.
You should be following those studies that are coming out.
Right. Yeah. No. There's lots of.
As a big rice eater.
Yeah. Right. I think no matter what, you're going to run into that sort of thing, especially as our world becomes more polluted.
Yeah.
And it gets into all the entire food chain.
Yeah.
So, no matter what, we're going to have to address it.
I like the aspect of wild eating too, where you're supporting intact ecosystems. So a lot of people would say, like, oh, you took that animal's life, and I'm like, well, I took it as a component of a living ecosystem that has many animal lives in it, where when you eat a cow, that cow occupied a space that only supports cows.
Yeah.
Right?
Monoculture versus a sound ecosystem.
Yeah.
And maybe to take into the discussions we've been having, I'm not making excuses, and I'm not, addressing haters or whatever, but we talk about this a lot, where you take an animal, an individual animal from the environment. It's not the last animal. We're only hunting animals that are sustainable, that we have licenses for, that we have tags for, and it's very carefully managed in Canada.
Yeah.
So if we go out and take a raccoon, it's not like the last one. We're taking an individual raccoon out of the population, and that's a sustainable activity. So, you're not going after endangered species. And some of these animals might be endangered some places. Like the bear thing is like a repeated topic of contention on the channel anytime I post a video about bears. But in Ontario, we have the largest population of bears. So to take a few individuals out of the population is actually helpful to the population of bears. And maybe they're not common everywhere in the world, but they're certainly common here. And I think any of the animals you're going to look out and get is probably going to fall into that category too.
Yeah. I recently learned that bears populations are not as resilient to harvesting as moose and deer, which I was surprised about, because they actually have to live to a certain age to reproduce, and then they only have 1 or 2 cubs at a time, and they keep them for 2 years.
Yeah.
Unlike deer and moose, which boot them out every year.
Yeah.
And a deer reproduces in its first year.
Right.
Of age, I think, or second year. So that was interesting.
Yeah, but that's not to say that the level of harvest that they're doing in Ontario here is not not sustainable. It is 100% sustainable. We carefully manage everything. So everything we take on the channel or otherwise is 100% sustainable. We can just continue to do it indefinitely and not have any issues whatsoever. Yeah,
the bigger issue is habitat loss.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
And we're not impacting habitat loss.
No. In fact, hunters are encouraging habitat restoration and species restoration.
Yeah.
It brings attention to another resource that we can use besides agricultural use of lands, because that's the biggest culprit. But we celebrate farming, so that's a whole nother topic. I'm going to get into at some point where we discuss the difference between hunting and farming and why we celebrate one versus the other.
Well, even for plants, I think like people would look at a cornfield and see a very productive system, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people would
I
look
guess.
into a maple sugar bush or a maple bush and not see food.
Right.
And yet, you know, at one time of the year, it might be completely abundant with wild leeks.
Yep.
And at another, it's providing your entire sugar needs for the year.
Yeah.
And at a sustainable rate of harvest.
Yeah.
Where, you know, that monoculture field that replaced the sugar maple is not sustainable.
And it's providing habitat.
Generally. And it's, so it's also supporting habitat for all the things that live in a sugar bush.
Yeah. Which is a lot more than would live in a cornfield.
Yeah.
You know, we like to see our deer and everything like that, and we like to feed our cows, but we don't think about all the animals that could live in that field if it was a forest.
Yeah.
And the diversity of animals that could live in that field. So it's a whole nother topic, and I think bringing attention to wild eating will help, certainly.
Yeah.
Bring some people back on board. If we encourage at least one person to make a wild meal out there.
Yeah.
Squirrel. I mean,
yeah.
There's lots of squirrels out there, and they're good eating.
Well, I'm even astounded how often you'll see a fruit or a nut tree in town that never gets harvested.
Right.
And it becomes a nuisance tree because the apples and walnuts are lying on the road and people run them over, and
Yeah.
you know, it's free food.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is dry the nuts and crack them, or make applesauce with the apples, and yet people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, we have lots of urban poverty, and food bank usage is on the rise, and
Yeah. Well, it's the delayed gratification sometimes too in planting a garden, your own garden, or planting an apple tree and waiting for it to mature.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like protecting it from pests, or maybe even cutting off rot and making use of the apple.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are
Scared.
to try
Yeah.
for failure, but you can't really fail. And even if you fail, like studies show that time you spend with your hands in the soil, that you spend outside, that you spend in the sun, that you spend with plants, it all betters your health and lowers your stress.
Absolutely.
Like, these are known things.
Yeah.
And so even if you fail your whole garden, you haven't wasted your time.
Right. Or even just going for a walk in the woods. That's a huge stress reliever.
Yeah.
Versus, like, say, walking on a treadmill, you don't get the same benefits. I mean, you get some benefits, but it's not the same. Go for a walk out in the forest. It will help your depression, anxiety, and physical well-being more than almost any drug or medication. You guys should, if you're having issues out there, definitely give that a think. Just go for a walk by yourself in the forest. The animals are not going to get you, trust me. If anything, if you develop some skill, you'll be doing the opposite way. You'll get some individual animals. You're not going to kill the whole population. Just take a couple here and there, and you'll be good. You'll be providing yourself a meal.
Mm-hmm.
So what can they expect to see if they go to your YouTube channel, Facebook?
So on our Facebook page, Big Wild Year, we're basically posting daily updates of the food that we're eating, and other information like what we've been craving, what we miss, what we're looking forward to. Delphine did a Throwback Thursday the other day with a bunch of pictures of us harvesting over the last year. So that was a nice break from here's raccoon soup, here's bear soup, here's you know, roasted this and roasted that. Not that some of our meals have not been fantastic, but like we don't want to just post meals every day, because the year is not just about posting meals, but it's about spending time with friends and foraging, and it's the time spent outside, and it's learning, it's new plants, it's new ways of preparing plants and animals. There's so much more to the project. It's about food sovereignty, it's about food accessibility, it's about traditional ways of eating, it's about healthy diets. You know, I'm learning a bit about ketosis and metabolic changes, experiencing my own health changes over the past 60 days. So it's a lot. On my channel, I'm trying to do a weekly video showing a food preparation. But I'm doing other stuff too. So like I'll be getting into camping season soon. There'll still be catch and cooks. Like the big wild year will be the backdrop for most of my food through the year. But I also started a little bit of a food prepper series for preparedness, because obviously I still feed my kids regular foods. And something we just did, somebody in North Bay ordered too many strawberries at their restaurant, at their grocery store, so they were selling them for $1 a pound.
Wow.
So we bought 24 pounds of strawberries, ate 3 pounds, the kids, and then we processed the other 21 pounds into food that we can store all through the whole next year and use, you know, every week. So I just showed a little bit of that and how you can save money and eat healthy. So there's lots of different things I'm interested in on my channel. Some gear reviews, there'll be some gun stuff. I'll be into maple syrup season soon.
All right, we're gonna finish up. My hands are actually getting cold, so we're gonna
mine
go
are
back
frozen.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold eating out here.
Yep.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. This episode is not over. We still have to check the traps. We still have a couple meals left to do. I'm gonna spend the night in the cabin, obviously. So that's a pretty big deal, because it's a lot of work coming into the cabin too to get
Have you
this all
slept
done.
out here yet?
No,
Oh, wow.
it's the first time.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna call this like the first camp out at the cabin, but in order not to upset my wife, we're gonna have to do it again when it's completely finished.
Yeah.
So that'll be
Call it the first.
the first time in the
Okay.
in the finished cabin or the cabin.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't count.
It's the first time in the cabin skeleton.
Yeah. On the construction site. All right, we're gonna jump back in. We filmed it out here because there was not enough light indoors.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, let's get back.
Okay.
Back inside.
Good chat.
Good chat. You see that? Oh, don't look at it, it hurts. That's the throw light, but you can't run that all night. It's gonna get way too hot. So Kevin's out here with a solution. He's got
I wired a bomb.
he sure did. So what's that? That's the inverter?
That's a 3,000 watt inverter.
300.
300. Yes, 300 watt. That's way.
You get 3,000.
I was reading about 3,000 watt inverters before I showed up. So this is a 300 watt inverter. This is a 17 watt LED, which is equivalent to a 100 watt light bulb. It's all cobbled together with spare parts that I had laying around.
Did you test it?
Yes, works well. So here we'll plug it in. No, I'm kidding. So there, it's plugged in, and then you turn it on.
What?
Whoa!
That's like magic. Did you have it? Is there a switch?
Yeah.
Where's the switch?
Well, it's the switch on the inverter.
Oh, on the inverter.
So there you go.
You've converted power?
DC power to AC power. This is 120 volt
AC?
Yeah.
Oh, you got that right?
AC. Yeah.
Yeah,
It goes from
battery's
DC battery to AC. So there you go.
That's
So-
a lot of light.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fantastic.
pretty good.
And it should last all night.
At least.
Yeah.
Cool. So where are you gonna hang it?
I don't know. I think I was just gonna hold it.
Yep.
This.
You gonna burn?
Ears glow?
You burn yourself?
It's not hot. That's the good thing about it. It's
I feel like this is a catered event. Your brother's taking good care of us.
It's very rustically.
I could have got a pot light. Just dangle one light down.
Yeah, it would have been my diffuse.
Well,
So-
you know what? I actually we had something to hang around it, like that plastic bag, that little white plastic bag.
You're gonna put a plastic bag around
Yeah.
the light bulb?
Yeah.
Right.
All full of guts.
No, that's a clean one.
Clean one.
So
You know what works good? Toilet paper too. Tissue paper.
see, that looks really good. That's way better.
Yeah.
That bag's just glowing in the.
More like candlelight or firelight now.
Yeah, it's way less obnoxious. There.
It's not gonna catch on fire.
Shouldn't.
So now we're all pretty impressed by this system. We got one light bulb in a bag, running off a car battery that could potentially be charged with solar. So even though we don't get enough sun here with all the cedars and all that, we could just move it into a location that had an opening, charge the battery and just bring it back up to the cabin, and then have light for the night.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a perfectly viable solution. So if you guys are looking for a cheap solution, that might be something you're looking at. So the inverters are what? How much are the inverters? 30 bucks?
Yeah.
30 bucks for an inverter, and then you just find a car battery.
A lot of the times, if you want to get a used battery, you go to the scrapyard. They'll just charge you the core price, which is this thing that recycle in the battery, and it's usually about $9 or so. I think that's what they get for the core, but they could probably hose you at least like at $20 at the most, and you get yourself a used car battery. And then if you just, if it lasts you a week, it's good, and if it lasts you a month, it's better. And I don't know.
How do you charge it though? Like, how do you charge that without?
Well,
solar?
you could get yourself a trickle charger solar panel and charge it relatively inexpensively, or that thing's actually a car battery charger I used.
That's pretty much what it looks like to eat wild food right now in the middle of the winter. Just meat.
Yeah, unless you got a lot of greens stored up.
And you haven't stopped eating actually since we ate.
I don't think he's. I
Still at it.
It's a full-time job.
Eating?
Yeah.
There are worse jobs.
I'm really feeling like I want some dessert now, but I'm gonna go the big wild year theme and not eat any meat, or not eat any dessert or anything. I didn't bring anything with me.
Sugar candy.
Yeah, maple sugar. I can make it like just a spoonful of syrup.
Yeah. I sometimes just drink it out of the jar.
Yeah, I've done that. Like a spoonful of it.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of savor it a little bit. Kevin's like,
It's like, do you know what I had for dinner?
Popeyes.
I had Popeye's chicken.
Before we go to bed, we got ourselves a smoke detector. Safety eventually. Ow.
Warning, carbon monoxide. Monoxide de carbone.
Two. Ow.
Alright, works.
Ah, stop! Jerry had the urge to snack.
Yeah. I'm burning more calories trying to break these things then.
You're probably coming ahead.
Yeah.
I think we did the math on that.
Yeah.
Those are the black walnuts for the record.
Yeah, they're not easy to open.
Full of little grooves that you need like a nut pick to pull out.
Yeah.
And if you smash any more aggressively, then it all just ends up
Yeah.
crumbs.
Mixed up.
You can't eat it. There's got to be a better way. Probably just crush them and put them in water and then sort the floaty wood bits out.
Yeah.
If you ever want to catch a squirrel, these are like crack for squirrels. Like if you just take it in the husk as you find it, it's a big green ball that surrounds this. Throw this in a trap or anywhere. You can throw it in a shed. You can put it in your house. The squirrels will literally come and grab them from anywhere you put them. All right, so Jared said I can make some porridge because I'm hungry and I won't want to eat that meat anymore. So he's got red oak. Is that red oak?
Yep.
Acorn flour.
Hot bleach.
How much you want to put in here?
We can put the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't eat it, we can just reheat it later.
I'll eat it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to eating something I don't have to chew.
Yeah.
Like my normal diet.
Go for it. We'll call it a trade against some of the meat that I'll be taking home.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna fit all in there.
Okay, good. Then I'll take some home too.
Well, we'll see. So, can I put bear fat in there?
Yep.
Okay, I've got that right.
Maybe after.
After?
We'll boil it first, and then we'll mix in the fat and the syrup.
Okay. All right. So I gotta use your spoon then.
Okay.
We'll see how thick it is. I could probably use the rest.
It'll soak up some of that liquid as it boils, though.
Think so?
Yeah.
You want to save it?
Yeah, save up what's there, and we'll cook what's in the
All
pot.
right. This is your ration.
Well, kind of is a little bit.
All right, so it's thickened up now. We're gonna add our bunch of bear fat. That'll give it a couple extra calories. I think we should probably get some more here. Let's grab a bunch. I'm kind of hungry. This is like, it's like adding butter to your food. And then we're gonna add a bunch of syrup. Good bunch of syrup.
Yeah, oops.
Oops. Alright, now that's gonna be good for sleeping. Did I get it in the cup? Or did I miss?
You
got some of it in.
Oh, yep, you're good. You're fine.
I can't see what I'm doing. Alright, so first taste of this. I already had a little bit. Jerry says it's bitter to me, not bitter. He hot leached them up. So it's like you take an acorn and you have to get the tannins out because the tannins are toxin. So you hot leach, did you boil it? Did you boil it? A hot leach?
Hot leaching, you're boiling them. I just do them on my cook stove or
Right.
my wood stove because it's running all the time.
And then a bunch of changes of water. Pour it out, replace it
Yeah.
to get the tannins out. Tannins make it like reddish colored, right?
Yeah, they changed the color of the water.
Right. So you're stripping that out. So Jeremy said he didn't do like a super awesome job. He did a passable job. So you're not gonna get sick off of it, but it is pretty bitter. We had acorns before, acorn flour before. It was actually really good. It tastes like eating coffee grounds or something. It's like that bitterness to it.
Yeah.
I find anyway.
They're relatively bitter.
I'm gonna eat it, but it would be better if it wasn't as bitter as that. You can do cold leach too in a running stream or running water. Hot leach is a faster method. You don't have to wait a few days. What is it? How many weeks or how many days do you have to do cold water leach for?
Yeah, I've left them in like a jelly bag for 36 hours.
In a stream?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's usually pretty good, but
cold water stream or whatever.
yeah. The problem is it tends to leach the ones on the outside, but the ones in the middle of the bag don't tend to leach as well.
Yeah. So you
Which
just
is why other
yeah.
methods where they're mixed
Right.
and then they settle and you pour the water off, I think it's a little bit more effective.
Yeah. It's nice to have something you don't have to chew a lot though.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes like lava.
Acorns and bitterness. What does acorns taste like?
Maple syrup.
Oh,
Try it.
I don't know.
Acorns are nutty and
It tastes like, it smells like dirt.
Try it.
It smells like dirt.
Try it.
What are you eating dirt for?
Try it. That is the smallest bite ever.
yeah, too bitter, eh?
Well, if you get past the initial taste. It's not terrible.
No.
Give me something to drink.
Alright, we're gonna go check the traps. Because I'm curious. I love checking traps. You never know what you're gonna get. It's only been an hour and a half or so after dark. But my hunch is that they'll move. They'll already be moving, especially we set them so close to their den. Ready to go?
Yep.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Kobe.
You should note that this is the first time this forest has seen light
Yeah.
out here. This is the first time in possibly ever.
So look what we got. That's a pretty big one, or just furry. Hey buddy, you're gonna be food. Sorry about that. Check out number 2. That one's still empty. Looks like it's still set properly. No fresh tracks, it doesn't look like. So far we got one. So that's one. Is there any other one?
Nope, empty.
Empty. Okay, so we got one out of 3.
Yeah.
2 up here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna check one more down by the cabin. Oh, that's pretty good. So so far I'm half right. Predicting one more by morning. We'll have to check back in the morning though. Empty. Just check real quick for any sign. No fresh tracks. Trap still set, so that's it. One for 4. That's the first time that cabin's been lit up in the dark. Pretty neat. Get that exterior light all running. You can imagine it's gonna be nice out here in the summer. Have outdoor fire, cabin, everybody out here. Pretty cool. I don't know if you guys can tell what's going on, but Kevin's projecting season 2 of the Wilderness Living Challenge with Jeremy and I on the cabin wall. With this phone, yeah.
Have a chance for bacteria to spoil it. We're gonna set up the smoker next. We're gonna throw the fish in there.
How's that for a throwback?
Are we throwing the legs in there too, Jer?
Oh, look at that.
The bear?
Awesome rainbow. Man, that was the best fish ever.
Yeah, so because we don't have refrigeration here, we have to preserve this at least until tomorrow.
It's pretty
We have
cool.
way too much food to eat. It's crazy. So we'll probably be packing the smoke.
You could put your channel icon on the side of the cabin.
Yeah. The bat signal.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. That's pretty much what started it all.
Yeah.
More
Season 2?
more or
Season
less.
1 was pretty good.
Yeah, season 1
But
was
it
good.
propelled us, right?
Not a lot of people watch the season 1, but go back and watch season 1. You'll learn a lot.
Yeah,
You'll learn along with us.
we did.
Yeah, we did, for sure we did. Still picking away at this acorn stuff. It's actually tolerable and filling. That's the most important part, because I actually feel satisfied now. So having acorn is must for if you're gonna eat wild food. Easy to eat, but it's gotta be at least a little bit more. It's good though. So I'm gonna sleep down here on the main floor. We got these cots here. Teton. You're not allowed to say that. It's a French word. Yeah, I'm gonna Teton. I'm gonna sleep in the corner down here by the fire because it's gonna actually be cooler down here. It's pretty toasty upstairs. So the only trick is, like, you're sitting on it, right? Never sit on the edge of it, on the metal. Yeah. As long as you sit on the middle or lay down. Pretty good caught. Teton Sports, not Teton.
No?
No. A grand Teton.
No. Brushing my teeth.
You guys are like wild year, and I'm like, here's my Pepsi and my party mix. My Pepsi and my party mix.
So eventually we're gonna have probably beds up top, but we don't want to move any beds or anything in there right now, because we'd have to take them all out to be doing the construction. So temporary cots for now. The cots would actually probably do well up there, probably better than beds, because if we get mice, they're all gonna get in the bedding material. So who knows, maybe cots, I don't know, we'll see. Probably beds, and then we're just gonna have to keep on top of the mice. So that's what my bed looks like. Just have that couch pillow, and then I have a air mat underneath. Probably don't need it, but it's nice to have. And then fire is full, and our stew is refilled. That'll work overnight, so that'll be probably breakfast. That's it. Light off. Got the flashlight will be next to bed in case I need to wake up to pee. I can just reach over and grab it. What's your bed look like? Good?
Yeah. Looks comfy as long as I don't forget where I am and go walking off the edge. Then I should be good.
Yeah, there's no kid protection here.
No.
You fall off,
That's it.
yeah, it's
It's your own fault for being dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get too hot out there, you can crack the window too. I think it'll open.
Yeah.
Alright, so you're going to be responsible for the light, I
Okay.
think. You get the switch there.
Yep.
Alright, cool. You got your own flashlight?
Yep. It's
Right.
plugged in. I got my 2 sleeping bags. Should be good.
See you at daylight.
Yep.
Good night.
Night. Have a good sleep.
Alright guys, good night. We are not finished by any means. We still have to go check our traps, and we have a couple of meals left to go before we check out for good on this adventure. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Good night.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, it was pretty cold last night. I had to put the fire in, or add wood to the fire anyway, twice, and it's still cold. This place needs some insulation. Nothing in the walls here. So I loaded up a couple times. How do you sleep, Jared?
So.
So?
Yeah.
It's warmer up there? Or no?
A little bit warmer. It
Yeah.
has to be. You're higher up, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It's a comfy little spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get this fire cranked. It's actually not that cold outside. I don't think it's -11 or whatever they were calling it.
Yeah, they're calling for -11, which is like relatively cold. It was cold last night. Went out to pee twice.
Yeah.
Went out to pee twice, load the fire twice.
I only had to pee once in the night.
Worst part is getting clothes on in the morning. And then you're alright. I'll put my snow pants back on and boots back on. And that fire didn't take off because it died down to a bed of coals every time. So I put wood in there, and you'd probably have to wait an hour before it bursts into flames or something like that. So I almost need some smaller pieces for that fireplace.
Shorter or just smaller?
Shorter
split?
and like thinner.
Yeah.
We'll have to put that on order with Kevin. We've got a new splitter coming, so that's going to be big news. A big new splitter. This thing's a beast. So maybe we can have a setting where it makes it for that small stove. There was one of our viewers mentioned that they had the same stove, and they said we'll be warm but not hot. I believe them. Yeah. It'll be alright in 3 seasons except for the winter. Winter's gonna be cold on the -30. This thing's gonna have to be banged out perfectly to be warm. We'll get some stew in us and go for a walk, check the traps, 'cause we don't want to leave anything. If there's anything in the traps, we don't want to leave them out there too long. Take care of them and add them to the pot of food. Alright, we already know we got one cottontail. Now we see if we made our predictions true on a second cottontail. That'll be 2 for 4. So I'm really hoping for one more. That was my goal. I always like to set little goals for myself, even though they're just small and meaningless to most people, including myself. But then you have a goal, you have to kind of predict things, and then you have a bit of skin in the game. So just wander up here and we'll check our traps and see how we did. See if we got some food to send home with Jeremy. That'd be pretty cool. If you guys have been following along with the channel, you know that this is not a snowshoe hare, it's a cottontail hare. Different variety, or cottontail rabbit. Completely different. But they don't change white in the winter, which puts them at a pretty big disadvantage for predators, which is exactly why they like to hide out in burrows, which is contrary to what hares do. They hang out all the time.
Yeah, hares are all above ground usually, and then these guys are underground a lot.
Yeah, they're run, bury themselves to hide, whereas the hare are using camouflage a lot of the year because they'll color phase, right?
Yeah.
These ones, there's only white on the bottom, the rest of it's brown. And this trap over here didn't produce anything. Could be that there's only one rabbit in this hole, but I'm guessing there's probably another one. As the cycle of life goes, and I know we talked about this enough times, but now taking one out, there's going to be room for other ones to move in, and they're definitely going to use this habitat and the resources around here. So we've taken an individual of the species out. We haven't eradicated the species. You guys gotta wrap your minds around that. So this is a renewable resource. We talked about this before. Yeah, so take one out, and then another one's gonna move in short order, especially as the spring comes and
and all the abundance comes up, there'll be a couple left in the woods, they'll reproduce, and then they'll spread out and fill in this new habitat. All right, 2 traps to go. All right, so this is the trap that I put 99% certainty that we would catch one on, because there was so much sign around here. This is under that little green bush, and we are successful. So that's 2 for 3. One more to go.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've met my target. I have predicted the future of my trapping ability, so that was pretty good. So Jared's just gonna load up here now and turn this into food. Yeah, that'll be good for Jeremy to take back on this big wild year, because he wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get anything just because of limited opening seasons. But Cottontail is one of the ones that opens fairly late in the season, which is nice to have. Maybe there's a big fat greasy raccoon in the last one. That would be good. I'd be happy with that. Hey, if we get something out of it all, it'll be a bonus. It'll have exceeded my expectations. This is the last one coming up here. It's the big one. The big coon trap. But I think it was way too cold for a raccoon and things like that to be moving around, so that's why we're not really counting on it. It got warmer, I think, for sure. And as the season wears on and the spring comes back, it'll definitely be moving a lot more. This creek system here gets tons of traffic. It's like a thoroughfare for raccoon. So if you really wanted to live off the land, this would be how you do it. Just set a trap out, and every day you'd have probably get a raccoon endlessly. They're all into the farm fields, cornfields, soybean fields. They get pretty well fed. Just coming up on the trap here now. So empty, nothing. Doesn't look like any fresh tracks around here. So nothing in this neighborhood. All right, so that's it. We're 2 for 4. That's pretty good. So got a little bit of work to do to clean these up. I'm gonna send them home with Jeremy, and we got breakfast to eat, and we've got a bunch of other things to do before. So more to come. They saw us though. Trying to call an owl in.
Yeah.
No, crow.
You can eat.
Oh, here one. Get it? Oh, too late.
Yeah, I can't wing shoot you at 22.
Oh, get ready. We did have them come in though.
Yeah.
We had 2 come in. It's a pretty good set. We need an electronic collar. That's where it really works. This one swung in, and one came swinging. Here it is.
Yeah, I'm interested to give it a try sometime. It's in a tree, eh?
It's right in this. If you come over this way, it's right in that pine, right there. Can you see the black?
Yeah.
That's it there. Watch.
Down low?
2 feet from the top.
Yeah.
See that black clump? Can you see it in the scope?
I don't think it's a crow.
You sure? That's where I heard it. Saw it move.
Is that your brother's property?
Yeah.
At the back?
Yeah.
That's a long shot. He was in the tree back, like 60 yards or 70 yards out. 2 over there. One here.
Oh, there's one
up
there.
high.
Yeah.
If we hide in the bush a little bit where they can't see us from those spotters up there, then they might come back in close, and then we can try off of a tree.
Yeah, we could certainly try again. Like if we know it works, we could just It's an impromptu meal making here.
Yeah.
There's so many crows here. I wish my caller, I have a caller on the way. I wish it was here for this trip, because it would have been really fun to do coyote set too. Do some predator control. People who have eaten crows say they're good. The few that have.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
I mean, we look at that a Native American website, like it's not a Native American website, but it's about eating habits of Native Americans. You wonder why crows keep their distance. Robins, blue jays, why are they afraid of people still when they're not allowed to hunt and they haven't been hunted in 100 years? Why? Because they used to be hunted. That's exactly why, and they still have the genetics to avoid people at all costs.
Yeah, I know a guy who ate blue jays. He said they were really, really good.
They used to eat loons. I mean, there was nothing off the menu. I should try to find that link. I'll try to put it down below if I can find it again. But it basically, I was astounded about how many animals Native American people who lived around here used to eat. Not here specifically, but in North America. They ate everything.
There's a research center out of McGill University. It's called the CINE, the Center for Indigenous...
Is that the website?
I don't know if it's the same one.
Okay.
Indigenous Nutrition and Environment. And they have you can search their database. So if you put in raccoon,
yeah,
it'll pop up all the original references for who ate raccoon, how they ate it, when they ate it.
Right.
And so it's interesting because you can search through, but they also have like the full species list that you can scroll through.
Yeah, it was amazing when you look at like weird things. You know, like porcupine's a pretty weird thing for us, but it wasn't weird for them. But the weird ones like woodpecker. They used to eat woodpecker.
Yeah, I think things that we think of as like feeder birds in your yard, right? That people would have before just like tried to net them or trap them or
it was
just eat them.
Whatever. If there was a woodpecker there in the tree and it was like, I don't care that you're there and you could shoot it, you would have ate it. It's like, that's a free meal. So they weren't very discriminating as far as what they ate.
Yeah,
so we think like
now, except for regulations.
Except for regulations. Yeah, I was to be honest, I would be too. There's no reason we need to protect certain species. Like if they're endangered, yeah, it makes sense, but if they're abundant, like take a couple out, make use of it, and then we don't have to do all this concentrated agricultural development. Spread things out, you know. If you take one meal out of the environment, like a crow, that means you're not eating a chicken, which means you're not supporting factory farming.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, think about it. It makes sense.
Or if people could do what your brother does and have backyard chickens, right?
Well, that makes sense
every
too.
Every backyard chicken you eat is still supporting like a generally intact ecosystem.
Yeah. It's not inconducive.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you have a little bit of space, you can do that.
Especially if you can feed them off of like if you have 5 chickens and you feed them off of table scraps.
Yeah.
Then you're not supporting like the monoculture crops that produce grain.
Well, a lot of Kevin's chickens are actually, they eat grasshoppers because there's tons in that.
Because he's using a chicken tractor.
So you drag it every day, and then when the big boon comes with the grasshoppers, they end up all jumping in the cage, and those chickens are right on it. They'll eat mice and they'll eat rats. They'll eat everything. So it is very helpful to have that kind of supplementation to your diet. And they're doing a big movement now to have urban chickens where you can have them in the city, which is great.
Yeah, my city's been fighting that for a while.
To get rid of them or to get them?
Well, citizens want them and the city council doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Because they
it's pretty
still
dumb.
have this idea that it'll like spread disease.
Yeah.
Like that people will have chickens in their house and be getting sick from them. There's a woodpecker. Just landed on one of those snags.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back out for some crow.
Yeah.
There's a backfield over here, and there's a hardwood where we might have better shots. Yeah, it's worth a try.
I wonder if those 2 woodpeckers are coming because of the owl calls.
Maybe. Intruder.
All right, now I'm hungry. I worked up my appetite. So it looks like we're gonna be eating leftover stew. I think that's what we're gonna be eating. Our squirrel hare stew. We still have goose left, but I think Jeremy's gonna take that back as leftovers. So he's got it in the slow cooker crock pot there, ready to go. So once he gets home, he can eat. Yeah, we got another meal planned of raccoon, which actually may be a part of a different video altogether. Because I started the video, but I never finished it. So if you guys want to check out, I'm not sure what it'll be under, but we're gonna use some caul fat and all that stuff. Maybe I'll include a little clip in here, and then the rest of it will be, you have to skip over the other one. But yeah, it needs to just relax a little bit now and get warmed back up. Hands cold. That could be a bone.
Okay.
Bone bowl.
Yeah.
Like eating wings. Yeah, I've had this overnight. So it's gonna end up as a forever stew for you. Are you gonna take some of this home too? You're not gonna waste it, are you?
Yeah, I could pour it into my slow cooker. Whatever fits.
Yeah, it should fit. Just get some of that liquid out of there. Maple syrup. What are you feeling like?
Sure.
How is it without it?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should try some. You know what? Also, the broth is much nicer now that it's been simmering.
Has it?
So before the broth was like clear.
Yeah,
with
right.
The meat, and now it's blended.
Yeah.
And it's a really good broth. Like I would not want to get rid of that liquid if I'm taking some home. I'd want to.
Yeah, it's a good thing to like have in a thermos or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carry around with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use my adobo. Wasn't sure if I was going to cheat this weekend.
Mm.
I've done enough of the survival challenges that I know what it's like. I feel hungry, but I feel fine.
Well, and you're not getting calories out of your spice, right?
No,
You're just,
exactly. There's no calories in here. It helps you eat it.
mm-hmm.
I think more than anything. So if you guys are interested in this spice, I'm gonna give the link below. It's Zach Fowler selling it on his website. So if you're confused that you go to Zach's site to sell it, it's because customs issues. I didn't want to mail it out from Canada to the US, which is, you know, like 99% of all purchases are going to come from the US. So it's basically, I did it for you guys to save some money. And then I have a partnership with Zach, which makes sense. Like Zach and I are still good friends. Talk all the time. Probably get together on another adventure. Be nice to have everybody together again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep
yeah, because that time of year I just couldn't really participate, but
right.
It'd be fun to do a extended camp out survival trip.
Yeah. Get
have a
different take on everything and more expertise.
A
right?
hunter, a crafter, a plant berry picker.
Yeah.
Right. We all kind of have our strengths that we gravitate towards.
This is a lot better with the spice, I think.
I can smell the spice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't know that I ever really got the full scent of it before on our other outings when we've used it.
Yeah.
But I can just smell it coming off your plate.
Yeah, it's really good mixture with the maple syrup too. It's got a good complementary flavor. No, I don't think many people would think that you put like maple sugar on meat. Or maple syrup on meat, but when you put barbecue sauce on meat, there's lots of sugar content in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing it anyway, whether you realize it or not. You're kind of putting a syrup on all your meat anyway. And then if you do it right, it caramelizes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next?
Maple syrup's
what's next for you? What season are you looking at next?
Maple syrup.
Yeah.
Well, like we're still sort of in ice fishing, maybe for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
And then we'll be 100% maple syrup. We're hoping to make, well, we're going to tap 100 trees. And if we get good yield out of that, we might get 80 liters of syrup.
Wow. How many
How many calories in 80 liters of syrup, do you think?
Well, 1 liter is more than a kilogram. So that's 2.2 pounds. So a liter must be, it's not pure sugar, but it must be up around 6,000 or more calories. I forget. We'll have to look it up, and then you can pop up a little window of how many calories there are in a liter of syrup.
I should. I did an experiment one year where I harvested sugar, and based on my calculation, it would have been difficult for Native American people to do it without technology, because they wouldn't have had cast iron boilers. I mean, once cast iron boilers came, it made sense. But to cut the wood by hand, it was like pretty close to being like it was a homesteading net gain on calories. So definitely worth doing if you had lots of wood available. And we tried to figure out like whether natives actually did it or not primitively, and they actually didn't. It was only cursory use of syrup, of sap, not syrup, in stews. So, and they only did stews once they had cast iron. So it was like one of those things they would drink. They would catch it in the birch bowl, and they would probably drink it because it would have some sugar content, 2% or 4% or 5% depending on the tree. And they would use it like that, but they wouldn't refine it. And that wasn't really till the Europeans came with that technology, with the cast iron technology to boil. And then it became a mass production, and they would trade a lot for the sap syrup.
Yeah. Some communities were making unbelievable amounts of maple syrup.
And trading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't have a need necessarily for it, but they could trade for things like guns, which was, and metal traps was a huge thing for them.
But I think too that people often collect things that are not net calorie beneficial, right? Like, so picking strawberries.
Right.
Blueberries, you don't always get your calories back on them, but they just add something to your diet that's worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah, I always feel like the things that for you have to do something that's productive in your life. As far as calorie collection, you can't just do everything that's a waste of time.
No.
Or not a waste of time, but like you can't just collect berries and be like, oh, okay, we're good. You have to have a net gainer. So what's going to be your gainer? And at that time was probably big game animals, like, you know, moose. You get one moose, you're good.
Yeah.
Rather than getting like hundreds and hundreds of hare, or, you know, a couple bear or something like that, or a bunch of beaver. That makes sense. So that kind of affords you the ability to go out and get raspberries or something like that, where it's like, you know, you're not getting calories back, but they taste really good.
And people had a division of labor too, right?
Well,
so it's not like you had to decide between blueberries and a moose. You'd have one person would be out after moose, and one person would be out after blueberries.
Right. And you would put the kids out for the blueberries and berries, because, like, you know, as we do today, we put our kids to use, hopefully, in some respects. Like, they've got lots of energy, but you have to teach them how to focus that energy on something that's not very interesting to them, but helps the family. So, like, we want to have a good breakfast with some acorn meal. We want to put some berries in it. You guys got to go get the berries, or there's not going to be any delicious oatmeal for you. And they'll go out and work for it. They'll be happy to. Lots of bones in here.
It's not as bad as eating fish, though.
That's true. Or fish soup. But yeah, we're getting down to the bottom, so we're taking all the little tiny rib bones out. And the marrow is probably mostly out of it by now into the broth, which is why obviously Jeremy doesn't want to throw it out. So it'll be an energy booster.
And I just have a hard time throwing out food.
Yeah.
That's been hard, throwing out my kids' leftover food. Because before I just used to eat it all.
Right. I do want to avoid taking a big bite of this, because then you have to sort out the bones afterwards. Just kind of pick through it.
Yeah, and after maple syrup, it'll be smelts. After smelts, it'll be turkeys and leeks and morels, fiddleheads.
Right. We have lots of leeks up here if you're interested in taking a trip out.
It might be.
Yeah, like you can literally, because nobody harvests leeks around here. I mean, very few people anyway. So there's some patches that could be thinned out without any issue.
But leeks are very sensitive to over harvesting.
They are. Yep.
So when you have a spot, kind of keep it secret and know what is a reasonable number to take.
Yep.
But we cook with them quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a leek. Would you could say it's a very strong onion? That's what I would call it.
I find it like a very sweet onion.
Very sweet, but flavorful.
Yeah.
Onion, I find anyway.
They're fantastic.
They're really good to cook with, and
You can pickle them.
yeah, pickled leeks are really, really worth doing.
See, for us, like another big challenge this year is that we're picking and harvesting to get us through the big wild year, but we're also picking and harvesting for 2020 when we're not really sure what we're going to do in that year, but we're going to want to have wild leeks and wild food, so we'll probably buy some vinegar and pickling salt and pickle some leeks and then set them aside.
Right. So moving forward, you think you'll probably not do another 100% wild year, but you think you'll obviously incorporate more wild food into your diet?
Yeah. Like wild food plus staples or...
Jeremy is a lot more into the gathering end of things. Like when we went grouse hunting, I'm like, I just want to get a grouse. That's all I care about. Get a grouse or shoot something. And Jeremy's off like grabbing different berries and, oh, there's something over here, something over there. I'm like, grouse hunting. That's all I want to do. But that's the success of communities, right? Everybody has their own little specialization. Like even we talk about Kevin here. He's just a builder. He's not interested in wild food.
That's it.
For the most part, yeah. Like he's not interested in going out fishing. You can't get him in a boat to fish.
Oh, yeah.
He won't fish. He's just like, bring me to shore. I'll make a fire. I'll cut some wood and make a fire.
I'll build us a cabin and then...
Yeah, I'll build you a cabin.
You can come cook your fish after.
Yeah, but you need that division of labor to be successful. So what you have around here is basically a formation of a loose tribe, a loose community. And once this is established, then you start inviting other people and say, hey, things are good over here. Or as we've mentioned before, you start attracting mates. Like, these guys got it together. I'm gonna start hanging out with them because, that bison smells really good. And I'm hungry, so yeah, it comes back to the idea of modern masculinity and having some skills that are attractive to other people. I think it's a hard sell to sell hunting to the opposite gender. Like 97% of hunting video that I put out is male. But the cabin, introducing the cabin, has been an interesting sort of experiment because for the first time ever, I've been bumped out of that 90% viewership from men.
Yeah.
I'm actually at 89%, and that's just from introducing the cabin, which I think is more fascinating, I think. More interesting and more easier to watch, I think.
More appealing to both.
More appealing to to both men and women. So that's been an interesting thing. Maybe now's a good time to ask you about like what your take on modern masculinity, because I've introduced that a little bit, and I don't think it's fair for me just to share my opinion. So what do you think men should do? What do you think? Like, what is it to be a man today?
I don't know.
Kind of just
what do I think,
there.
or what does society push you towards?
Well, what do you think? What do you think? Yeah, just know your personal opinion. What do you think? Well, you can throw out like what society thinks we should do, but I mean that's not fair.
I think we all feel the pressures of what society expects from you, right? And I think it demands a lot of flexibility in men that falls outside of what their traditional gender role was.
Yeah.
And society has done the same thing for women. It expects much more out of them than their traditional gender role was, and so, you know, both genders are off in new territory.
Yeah.
It's like a social experiment, right?
It is really
run wild. And then I think it can cause frustration for both.
Yeah, and friction too, because
Somebody's here.
Kevin's coming.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he can chime in too. But yeah, it's true. We're expected to do. We're expected to all move toward the middle, and that's kind of like how technology is kind of influenced too.
Yeah.
It's locked.
Oh yeah. I guess we should let him in.
We should let him in.
Who are you with, Lena? Who's with you?
Bean is I.
Bean?
Yeah.
And who? Who else?
Daddy.
Yeah, Bean and Daddy. You come out to visit us?
There.
What did you eat for breakfast?
I eat supper. My daddy's and my treats.
You ate treats?
Not I do. How I eat treats all day.
Treats all day.
Treats all day.
That's what I heard.
Just like Jeremy.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pet the bunnies?
Here.
Yeah? Okay, I'll
Sure.
pet the bunnies.
Here, little pig. Little pig quiet.
We're gonna be quiet? Why do we have to be quiet?
They've been sleeping.
They're sleeping?
Little bit of the my big blood. Careful with those mittens.
Yeah, Daddy's mittens. You wanna come pet them? Will you pet them if I pet them?
Here.
Okay. There, I'll pet the bunny. Oh, it's soft. You wanna try?
I just have to take my mittens out.
Okay.
Where's my baby? That's my thumb.
What's the bunny doing?
She's soft. Soft. This is my
Soft?
bunny.
Yeah, soft. What's the rabbit doing right now?
It's sleeping.
You think he's sleeping? Alright. You can pet him. I'll pet at the same time. Is it soft?
Soft.
Is it really?
Daddy, you touch him?
Did Daddy touch it?
I don't want to touch the bunny.
But my daddy don't want to touch it.
No.
No.
Or Daddy's scared of the bunny, maybe.
Well, the bunny's sleeping. I don't want to wake the bunny up.
No, not want the bunny up. No, just pet it.
Okay, I'll pet the bunny.
Be gentle on it.
Yeah, it's soft.
It's soft.
It is very soft.
It's really soft.
Yeah.
It got long ears.
Is the bunny gonna wake up?
No.
No?
Sleeping.
Sleeping forever?
Sleeping ever.
Ever and ever.
This is sleeping all day.
We have to be quiet. Don't wake the rabbit up.
I just want to pet him.
Alright, pet it.
Here, soft.
Yeah, pet it soft.
This is not that the feet soft. It's so funny.
It's funny?
Peter, don't wake the bunnies up.
You think Bean's gonna wake him up?
No.
Bean's pretty gentle with the bunnies. Bean only smells the bunny.
You smell the bunnies.
Yep.
You know smell the bunny. Smell poop.
Smell poop? No. Really?
Yes.
You think they smell like poop?
Yes. I don't smell it.
No, I don't smell poop.
Bean smells poop.
Yeah.
He's a poop sniffer.
Beans has one tail. Beans got long.
That high?
Yep.
Okay.
Bean's got a long tail. Does that rabbit have a long tail?
Yes, it's got long tail.
Or a small tail?
Beans, don't wake you up.
Don't wake the bunny up.
Bunny?
Yeah? What are you gonna do with the bunny?
The bunny said that.
The bunny's gonna sit on the chair.
Hey, bunny. Hey, bunny, you is it with the buffet chair?
Are you taking the bunny somewhere?
I take a bunny to walk.
You're gonna take it for a walk. Alright.
Don't worry, buddy. I just pet you all day. I just pet the bunny.
Okay, let's put the bunny. We'll put the bunny back, and we're gonna go for a ride in the sled. Okay?
I want to put the bunny back.
I know. We'll go look for some bunnies.
Go walk to the bunny track.
Okay, let's go look for some bunny tracks. We'll take Bean. We're gonna go on the sled. Go for a ride. Okay?
Go in the mud bin.
Okay, hop
Okay.
on the sled. Say goodbye.
Bye, Lena.
Goodbye.
Bye. See you later. All right, guys, we're just sitting down eating some raccoon. You guys are not going to see this on this video, but I will have another video where I feature the raccoon in a totally separate adventure. So I think we're almost through here. I think we've done everything that we want to do. But it'd be nice to do a bit more planking around with some crows and predator calling and stuff like that. So that's something like if you guys really like this video, share it, like it, and all that good stuff, and then maybe we'll get to do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because those seasons are open all year. So I'll stick around. You're gonna see the raccoon video coming up. The raccoon's pretty good. You like it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
And the cabin series is going to continue. Obviously, we're not done it yet. And I'll be going up north at some point too, do some more adventures up that way. So check Jeremy out. His information will be down in the description below. You can find out what's going to happen to those cottontails on his channel. Tie up those loose ends. But for now, we're eating raccoon.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I'm gonna eat them.
Going to live off cottontail.
For one day.
Yeah. Find out if we liked or disliked the raccoon on that video coming up next. Or shortly, anyway. Alright, see you guys later. Grab some Adobe Spice if you like it. You can subscribe to this channel or not, I don't care. But that doesn't mean I don't care about you. And go check out Jeremy. He cares if you subscribe and he also cares about you. I got that right?
Yep.
If you have any questions, drop them down below. Do my best to answer them. Yeah, if you have any feedback, positive, negative, or otherwise, let me know too. If you want to see us do a different adventure, you want to see us try to get some crows or coyote, I'd be interested to do that. So be interested to know if you guys are interested in seeing that. Alright, that's it. It was a good weekend. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Alright, see you guys.
Good. Later.
He's smelling.
Yep. Beans smelling the poop.
Take the poop away. I touch this bunny.
Yeah, touch it.
You just touch this
Me?
bunny.
Me touch the bunny? Okay, I'll touch the bunny.
You touch this bunny. Soft. It's so soft.
It's very soft. You touch it?
See. This is a little bit bunny. Very sleeping.
No, bunny's sleeping.
The baby bunny. The bunny. One of the baby bunnies that's sleeping. You take a picture of my bunnies?
And pet them again?
Sure. Here, you want to put them in the bucket.
No, I'll pet them again.
You need to be quiet.
Need to be quiet.
Me to be quiet too. Soft. Baby soft. It's soft.
Yep, pretty soft.
Little bit.
You want to touch the ear?
Sure.
Alright, touch the ear.
I love this, but I want to be quiet. No.
I can touch the ear.
I want to touch the ear.
Oh, the ear's soft too.
The ear's soft too. I touch it. His ear's soft too. My fingers. I want my finger. But with my finger.
Yeah, pet it with your finger.
Let's do.